But I'm like, we're not ready to separate into two yet.
You got a couple of pancakes you can throw in there?
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
All right, there we go. We should be starting up live. I'm waiting for an image.
I was trying to figure
There
out
we
where all
go.
the...
Copy video URL. Normally I do this behind a still, which I'm just not prepared for the still right now. So everybody gets to watch me do this live. Here's a link sending to you.
Oh, are we live?
We are the beginnings of live. Nobody can see us yet.
Okay.
And now...
Okay, I got that one. So this is going to be just for patrons for the first little bit,
For
right?
the first little bit. You go right ahead and share it with your Ghostbuster group friends. But
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're not going to mind.
It's a special stream.
Yeah, exactly. Alrighty. There's that. So let me pop out chat.
Okay.
It's exciting, the beginning of a stream where it's all like, hey, we're watching the guy set stuff up. And Jerry Rig Props is here. So
Are we live?
we are live. The very first
Okay.
person we have is our friend Jerry from Ireland.
Hello, Jerry.
Hello, Jerry.
Hi, Jerry.
Oh, and Jerry, say hi to our friend Ben Eadie.
Hi, Jerry.
Hey, Jerry.
So who is Ben Eadie?
So who is Ben Eadie? Where's
Who?
my...
Who?
Who? Exactly. Apparently I dropped my teacup. It was plastic, so it could survive dropping.
Oh yeah, you threw it across the room, didn't you?
No, not intentionally. Hi, it's the beginning of the stream, and it's like I was going to pour my tea, and now I can't.
It's seeping too long. You have to find it.
Well,
I can't stand it.
It's streaming juice. Movie juice is coffee. Streaming juice is tea. Is that how it works?
I spy with my little eye.
Thank you. That's how it works for me. I'm not a big coffee drinker. It's usually too strong for me and causes massive frustration and anxiety and anger, which I don't want to be doing.
Maybe that's... I've had a tough couple of days. Maybe that's been the reason here.
Okay.
Gotta keep the chemicals all in balance.
Right.
Or it could be just my inability to say no to people that I should be able to say no to.
Oh, there you go.
Oh yeah.
I appreciate
I
you.
understand that problem.
I appreciate you not saying no to me.
Yeah.
So just to clue you in what's going on, and so the viewers know that you know what's going on, for the first 45 minutes or so of the stream, up until about noon my time here in California, this stream is unlisted. It's only being sent out to my patrons. So in the chat, which I think I sent you the YouTube link as well. Of course, I can talk to Ben on this camera, or I can talk to the viewer on YouTube on that camera. So, Ben, I sent you a link as well, so you can see the comments if you want to. Just know that there's a 30-second delay or so. And even though this stream is exclusive, at this point, it's exclusive for my patrons, I don't mind at all if you share with your Ghostbusters friends, and I don't think they will either. So, go right ahead.
Yeah.
Well, welcome everybody. We are live. We are still getting our things together, but we're live.
Yeah, but we're live.
You found your teacup.
Hi, I found my teacup. I've got my teacup. So, hello, and to all my patrons, hello, and welcome to this Monday, the final Monday of January, Odin Makes live stream with Felicia.
Hi, and who's this big giant floating head?
Floating head? Where?
We have a floating head coming in live from the Afterlife.
Yeah.
So, hello, sir. Who are you again?
I am Ben Eadie, and I'm a nerd that's just a high-colored cape and monocle away from mad scientist, and happen to do props and special effects for movies, and also a very long-time fan of Odin. In fact, when I first started my movie career, Odin and Bill Doran and all of them were like major parts of my watch in the evening to relax people. So this is pretty cool.
That's really cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
I don't think I knew that detail.
True maker, because
Well,
he totally geeks out
save
over
the
you.
compliment to make him public, right?
Right, there you go. Yeah, I know that it's been a little while. You and I have talked in the past, and what I thought was really funny is that we've talked and 3 hours have gone by without realizing it. So, so as soon as you tell me, oh, I won't be on the live stream, I was like, oh, this is going to be great.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Felicia came prepared.
Yeah, so I've got questions just written down.
Just in case.
Just in case, so make sure that we like hit all the dots. You know, like have lots of questions.
Now I know that you had. Yeah.
No, I've been fairly good with questions up until just recently, where I generally check whether I can say certain things about the question.
Fair enough.
So there might be a pause on some of them, but yeah, honestly, it's pretty hard to get to that level, and I know where the line is now, so that makes it so much easier.
Congratulations getting to that level.
I don't think I'm going to go too prying, because also no spoilers generally, right?
Right, generally.
Personally.
I mean, it is available on home video now.
Yeah,
Ghostbusters
is streaming as of today is the 31st, as of tomorrow.
Oh, nice. Streaming as of tomorrow.
Okay.
Well, sorry, it is streaming now. I meant the DVD and Blu-ray.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
Because I think I want that. That's one of those ones that I wouldn't mind having a tangible copy versus a digital copy of.
Totally.
Yeah.
And I know you've got a project that you're working on, but let's save talking about that until we make the stream public for everyone else to be able to jump in.
Okay.
Perfect.
Cool.
But first question I have: what was your role/title on Ghostbusters?
So my role was basically it's a bit of a story. So normally I'm in special effects, and I design up moving things, like I did rotating sets for Star Trek Beyond and all sorts of stuff. But props was not something I normally got into. But I live in Calgary, Alberta, and normally work in Vancouver, so I fly back and forth. It's a pain. They decided to film Ghostbusters in my hometown, and I thought, hey, I got to give it a shot and see if I can get on. So I got a hold of the special effects coordinator, and he's like, we don't have anything for you, but what was happening is the prop coordinator is not generally, in this case, wasn't a guy that was very good with electronics and everything. And he needed somebody that could handle all that, and the mechatronics and that.
Makes a lot of sense.
So he brought me over to the prop master, and the prop master put me in touch with production, and then suddenly I'm in front of Jason Reitman and them on a boardroom, and I'm like, wait a minute, normally it's like, you got a job for me, yes, you're in, not you're going to go meet the bigwigs. So at any rate, I ended up, they handed over, I was a crossover between special effects and props, and I took care of things like the Proton Pack and the ghost traps. My absolute favorite is the RTV and all that sort of stuff. So I made sure that everything kept running and tried not to destroy it, very unsuccessfully in some cases.
Nice. I feel like you were the fine line between special effects and we'll do it in post. Like we have to do it practically and we need to do it in post.
Yeah, so, and the thing is this is one thing that's kind of interesting is a lot of people think special effects as post-production, and like special effects, practical special effects are like, and you would be blown away at the kind of money they throw at that kind of stuff. The rotating sets for Star Trek Beyond were tens of millions of dollars, and I have no idea why they put me in charge of that, but they did. So.
No, it makes a lot of sense. What kind of a time frame do you have from say, hey, I go to this board meeting of we need you to be on this project to I have this much time to get all my props and things done?
Easiest answer is never enough. But
because I feel like as soon as I get the call that I'm on the project, already my brain is on it the entire time until we're wrapped.
Yeah.
So
it can vary a lot, but generally I would say like here would be, I'll give you an extreme example and then a usual example. So an extreme example is the rotating set for Star Trek Beyond was so I worked in the past as a freelance engineer.
Okay.
That's what I did before I got into movies. And if I was going to quote on this, I would have told them that it was between a 2 and a 3 year project. And I was given 2 months. So, and I wish I was exaggerating, but I'm not.
No, I understand.
Right. So the strain is very, very real. But things like, let's say, the cannons for the cave in the Ghostbusters Afterlife. And I'm sorry if anybody's having issues with me spoiling stuff, let me know. But
cave cannons, sorry people, that's spoiled.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
But the cave and the cannons is what was drawn and what was built at the prop house and what we got. It's like playing that game of phone where you tell somebody something in their ear and they tell a friend and they tell a friend. By the time what you get is not what people had in their heads. Yeah. And anybody can point fingers, but this is one thing I love about the movie industry. For the most part, is there's no time to point fingers. There's only time to figure out how to solve the problem, right?
Right.
So the whole pointing of fingers goes away. It's like, okay, what do we do is what we got.
Yeah.
So those came in, and literally they came in on Friday. They were playing on Monday, and a couple of people in the shop literally spent the weekend on some very long hour days, brought in some friends, and made that happen. So over 24 hours, or let's say 72 hours, they went from something they couldn't use to what they could use. And yeah, I figured had I been given a quote to do something like that, I would say 2 weeks. They did it over a weekend.
That sounds
About
vaguely familiar.
Yeah.
Yeah. We only ever worked on a little YouTube channel called Smosh, and yeah, we generally had about a weekend to pull off 2 scripts.
Yeah, no,
Which, you
music videos, we have I get it like 2 weeks, I've been told about it, 2 prep days, and like the night before I'm building brand new puppets from scratch and they're done.
Right.
They just, it's like it has to be done with whatever you got.
Different levels of expectations and totally different levels of budget.
Yeah,
but,
no, not the big ones, but I understand the pressure.
Yeah, understand the pressure at the time.
It's the same rules. I think the only difference between the two would be that I had a union that would say that you're not allowed to work 24 hours straight.
Right.
Yeah, non-union.
Been there. I think my single best work day, I was doing some editing and animation for the show I worked on called Beyond Geek, and I believe I hit the 46-hour mark.
Dude, so in my
I can't do that anymore.
They do a test where they see how long you can last, and they want a bare minimum of 72 hours
Oh, okay.
of staying awake and working. And yeah, dude, 48 hours is like one of the worst. Like once you've crossed that, you can kind of delusional your way through the
There
rest
is a
of the
second
time.
wind.
Right.
But man, that's a hard stop right there.
Yeah, that's when it's like you're doing it for yourself, not for them. Because
Right.
I want it to look like this and too light and bells and whistles. But yeah.
Well, cool.
See, this is why I wrote these things down.
No, that's totally fine. I just kind of wonder how many questions do we want to do before we. It's all fine.
No,
because
I
this'll-
have tons. We'll be fine.
All right, good to know.
Yeah, but what is everybody saying since we haven't acknowledged?
Since we haven't acknowledged, right? Usually I like to say hi to my patrons.
Welcome
right?
everybody.
Welcome everybody. 40-hour work week, and it's only Wednesday morning. Yeah, that's Moon Eyes 2K. Which, by the way, Moon Eyes was also quite upset that I dropped my teacup. Because Moon Eyes is a huge tea fan. So, of course, I've got worldwide friends here watching and talking with us, Ben.
Yep.
As you probably are aware. But yeah, let's see.
There's like a dust storm.
There's a dust storm?
No, it's like there's a dust storm, the little particles. I'm like, dang.
Okay.
Were you like sanding again?
Actually, we're overall very quiet. Most of the people are talking about either how they're not playing Minecraft at the moment from Shady.
Oh, took a break?
Yeah, I had to take a break. Or they're all excited and enjoying talking to you or listening to your stories. So,
They have bigger issues than I thought.
Well, we should at least pull out the pieces because we don't have that much left to cut out.
It's true, we don't. So one of the things you talked about, or that you hinted at when you contacted me, was giving us pointers on the Proton Packs. Is there anything like immediately comes to mind that's a big obvious, not red flag, but first thing you'd want to point out?
Honestly, I wanted to watch the other live streams and I haven't yet, so I haven't seen anything. I just kind of arrogantly made the assumption, but
fine.
Things that come up. The number one thing that I saw is making sure you have the right wire harness for a Phoebe pack.
Yes.
And this is the 84 one, which is different than the 89 one. And both of them are used in Afterlife, but
as they should be.
This is for the Phoebe pack.
For the Phoebe pack, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a seller, I think, through Facebook. Somebody shared a seller with me that's selling that cable that looks a lot like what you've got there.
Yeah, that would probably be Fincher Technologies.
Yep.
And they, I can't say enough about this because when the packs came in, again, I came into production after they had ordered everything. So these things, as they come in, I make sure that everything's working. And Jason comes by and goes, "That's not the right harness." And you're like, and I'll be honest, like, I'm a Ghostbusters fan, but I'm not that much of a or I wasn't that much of a Ghostbusters fan. I am now. But,
Right?
Right.
yeah, I had to figure out where to get the wiring harness, and I looked, and one of the producers, Eric Reich, he came into my office, and he was like, you look stressed. And I'm like, I can't find this wiring harness. And he's like, let me see what I can do. And this, again, this is one of those things that's great with the production, is you go around and ask. You'd be amazed at how many people have solutions to your problems.
Yeah. Who knows what or who?
And 5 minutes later, he goes, okay, I got a guy named Fincher Technologies, gave him a call, he's sending a bunch up. And I'm just like, so I spent 2 days completely freaking out over this, and it was like a 2-minute phone call for the right guys. Never be ashamed to say, I don't know, and never be ashamed to go, I need help. And those two things, if you learn those two things, you'd be amazed at what you can get done.
Right.
I like to send out feelers. I'm starting this project. I'm looking for these weird things. So if you see it, let me know.
Yeah.
That cable's one of them. So.
Right. And yes, somebody last stream shared with us the Fincher's Technologies. I looked them up and went, okay, so this is something we can order.
Yeah.
And
But
it's like the only thing they have now.
It's Chris. Yeah, Chris at Lost Wax.
Yeah.
Chris, he shows people how to use tape to make a wiring harness.
Right.
Holy cow! When I saw that, I got goosebumps. Seriously, dude, I was looking at that going, "Oh my god, that's freaking genius!"
Right?
Okay. That was close to my plan, because I was thinking about laying out a lot of like Cat 5 cable and things and trying to make it all a big flat cable. So is that? Because I'm trying to remember. Yeah, he did tape. Did he print it out? I'm trying to remember what he did to make his.
He took standard wires.
And
I forget whether it was like a cord wire with the already braided strands.
Okay.
And he was making an 89, if I recall correctly, an 89 style strip.
Okay.
But then he took some just some packing tape, but the heavier packing tape, like the Gorilla brand packing tape.
Sure.
And he laid the wires along one slice and then laid another slice of the tape over top and just squished it down. So he basically laminated the wires. Voila. You know? And it's pretty much exactly what they probably look. I think they just have like a heat shrink and a special press.
Right.
So it's the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw that because I was thinking that. I remember when I was a kid, my mom got some of the cables for like that they put in like AT&T. I don't know. She just got a little section of it that's wrapped in rubber, and she ripped that open, and all those little wires, we got to make little toys and, used them like pipe cleaners, but those laid out on the thing just stuck straight, and then it's a ribbon.
Because I remember all the old ribbon SCSI cables that were rainbow colored, and that's what I kept thinking about. But I haven't seen, a SCSI cable or a rainbow SCSI cable in, 30 years.
Yeah, it's the only thing that you can download ghosts.
I've been working on some robots lately, and trying to find, I wanted to get a 4-strand and a 5-strand flat cable that had like red and black somewhere along the way, so I have positive and negative, and then some colors. Try to find that. It is incredibly hard. You can get gray with one line marked as ground, but like I'm old visual. I'm not going to ring everything out. I want to be able to go, I know what these colors are on this end, and not, in some cases, walk to the other side of the shop to look at what's over there and what's connected to what. Oh.
Yeah.
I know I've got a small spool of 4-color wire that's for LEDs, so it's black and red with the data. Okay, that's I think the best that I've got. It
is, and that is good, but I think it's
maybe if you tape it together.
4 gauge, and I want something 22 or less.
Right. Okay.
Or 22. Or I hate how wires work. The higher the number, the smaller. Anyway.
Right.
I hate it when I have something specific that I know I need, and it doesn't exist yet.
That's
safe to say that
opportunity, isn't it?
I think that's why we end up making things in the first place.
Yes.
Why buy it for $15 when you can make it for $400 and waste 15 hours?
Right, but you get the satisfaction of getting almost exactly what you wanted. Almost.
But you're going to see that one flaw for the rest of your life.
Yes.
That glob of glue.
We've talked about that on the show many times, that as the artist, you're going to see that one flaw and hyper-focus on it, whereas everyone else is going to see the entire thing. Yeah.
Well, it's like, a friend and I made these traps, and they have, here, I'll bring it up closer.
Yeah, please.
So, I wanted to see what was inside of a trap, right? So we did this,
Oh, wow.
right? But there are so many flaws in this build, and it's also all lit, so it does the whole,
Okay.
right? And then the other side as well.
Yeah.
Come on,
A flaw to you is texture to me.
right? So the only advantage I like with some of the beat up props and the oiling dirty is that I always tell myself it's a feature. It's use in the past from the
Yeah.
Right.
You make that mistake so many times, it's now a pattern.
Well, I'm finding one thing that's kind of neat is my mistakes now are canon.
Yes. And people
Forever.
are going to try for years to come to match your grease stain.
No, okay, so here's a real to life story. And I told this on my, I think the TikTok or something, but so we're on set one day, the Ecto shows up. I was not expecting this. And again, this is one of those where you can point fingers all you want. There wasn't a wand inside of the Ecto, and the scene needed the wand to be in the Ecto. And I'm like, oh crap, it's at the shop and literally 4 hours away.
Ooh.
So what do I do is I ran out to my trailer, and it turns out the Phoebe Pack wands are the same as the wands that are in the Ecto, except the Ecto just has it retracted permanently. So I literally went into my trailer and cut a wand hose and everything off of one of the packs and did this. Now this was about, a week into shooting? So it had only been used in one shot, and it was a long shot, so I figured, okay, they didn't see the cut, I can get away with this. So I added a piece of tape to the middle of this rubber hose. And that was just, a repair to hold everything together and to hide the cut that I made. Had to make sure all the other props were done the same way. And then somebody recently on one of the forums was like, hey, we got to make sure we update this little piece of tape. And I'm like, oh my God, this is like rubbing salt in the wound. I get for the rest of my life a mistake I made, I have to live with. And it is called canon now. And I'm not sure how to feel about this. It
The
makes me
highest
laugh.
degree of honor, because if they give enough of a shit to notice your piece of tape,
Exactly.
that means you did your job well.
It's amazing.
That's what I told myself every time people would find a mistake. Well, thank you for looking close enough.
Right.
Yeah. Well, and some of the questions I get asked are quite funny because, why was one of the Proton Packs rotating counterclockwise? Was there any reason for that? And it's like, no, just completely missed that. I suck.
Yeah. Each time you
Okay.
turn it on, it goes one way and then goes the other way. I don't know. Just seemed like a feature than a flaw.
Yeah, that's it. And a lot of the fans, that's one thing. Most of them are very understanding. There's always the one guy that seems to get his nose out of turn. But yeah, whatever. Life is way too short. It's a movie.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
fiction.
And in the whole spirit of the Proton Pack, they were hand built. They're all different. You
Right.
know, like somebody actually repairs it each time, and they get covered in slime. So
And you have how many years of tinkering that we didn't see after the second movie?
yeah,
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
wiggle room.
Lots of wiggle room.
Well, I remember the first day that they brought the pack that was on the bench, and they opened up the cyclotron.
Oh,
pack.
yeah.
Oh man, there's all
Holy
of us in
Grail.
the shop. We put it on the table. We opened it up, and we just all of us. There was this collective silence, and we're just like,
Yeah, I was very happy in the theaters. Like, oh, you can see the inside.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, you can
Yeah.
see the care.
Did you have anything to do with the building of that, of the inside of the Proton Pack at all, or was that you were just talking about it brought to the shop? So probably not. But
No,
Okay.
the props, the things that we kind of got our hands in on would be like the cyclotron on the packs originally was just set up to rotate, and that was it, just one speed. And
Okay.
Jason said, I want to see it spool up. And I'm like, yeah, okay, I've got this. And then, when he left the room, my boss looked at me and goes, do you really have this? And I'm like, no. So, at any rate, it was an actual easy fix. I just put remote control, I got RC controllers for cars and put a motor controller on all of them and just
Okay.
retrofitted it. And then I could spool all of them up.
So dimmer switch, more or less.
speed controller, or
Yeah.
Yeah, a speed controller.
Okay.
So you could ramp
Yeah.
it up so you go wait, and then really start going.
and do it on
And,
cue. Okay.
Yeah. So, we'd had that, and all of them were retrofit, and people some of the guys in the shop were like, you don't need to do all of them. We only need to do the Phoebe ones. And I'm like, the day that you do that, they're going to go, why doesn't this pack do it? You do it to one, you do it to all of them.
Uh-huh.
And
also, if the Phoebe pack goes down...
Yeah.
Sorry.
But well, this is true. Yeah, like if one broke down, then it's a matter of pull the guts out of that one, throw it in the other one. But it's still, it never came to be that the original Ghostbusters needed that spool up. But I took comfort in the fact that it was there and we needed it.
Nice.
Yes, I feel like if you didn't do it, then they would need it. If you did do
Exactly.
it, then they never need it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And even if they say they won't need it, they'll change their mind and they'll say, "No, I swear I said I needed it."
Yep. So if you have it, then they'll never need it. So makes your job easier. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have more pieces to cut out. Most of them are little rectangles and strips.
Right, which is going to be a lot easier to cut out than what we have been doing.
Yeah, our circles are mostly. Circles are
I
good.
just came
Circles are
across a cutout tip recently.
Oh, yeah?
I came up. I saw somebody who was talking about using ceramic blades in a utility knife, and I thought, I wonder how good they are. Now you can get the snap off the long utility knife blades.
Right.
You can get ceramic versions of them. They last easily 10 times longer than anything else, and they don't take. You can't resharpen them, but the fact that I don't have to touch them for like the morning while I'm doing cutting is so worth every extra penny that you spend on them. They are beyond amazing.
Okay.
I like it when things are sharp. It means they cut when I
Right.
need them to.
Interesting. I have to look for ceramic blades.
Yeah, I wonder, because
Yeah.
I know that you can't sharpen titanium blades, because as soon as you do, they're dull.
Right.
Yeah. No, the ceramic seems to handle the foam really well. I actually think it does better. Like they say they should last 10 times longer. I think they actually last a little longer with foam, because I think foam isn't eating them up like they would with the metal. So
Yeah,
Oh, I'm
ceramic
sure, yeah.
slides through better because it's more non-stick than metal, especially gliding through foam. So I
Right.
could totally see that working. That's
but
exciting.
I did find them on Amazon, so I'm pretty sure you'd be able to do the same thing.
Yeah.
So what are you making out of foam?
What am I not making
Yeah,
out of foam?
Okay, fair enough.
Recently there's
Okay, what are you making out of foam that you can talk about? Sorry.
some I can't, some I can. So
Right.
like I do chainmail foam. I came up with a chainmail foam stuff, which I think is pretty cool. And
yeah, so do we.
But I make armor. I love old time 13th century armor and stuff. So I make helmets and all that kind of stuff. And the chainmail and everything just fit in with that recently. But foam for itself, I always have a stock of it, and I'm getting really into the HD or the high density foams, the super hard stuff.
Right.
Because it's sculptable, it's easy to cut, but it can really hold a shape, and
It's
it
nice
can
sharp
take
edges.
some beating.
Yeah.
The RTV, the remote controlled trap, that bit of a spoiler, but I'm doing some work with Sony and rebuilding one that I completely obliterated on set. And that HD foam, I'm sitting there, as soon as we started rebuilding it, I realized that the HD foam, and this doesn't get covered in the video, but the HD foam is something that the whole thing should have been made out of in the first place. Like, it was cast, it looks great, but I honestly think that you could probably build it in a sixth of the time. But that only hits you after the stress is gone of the movie and it's done. So you're just like, why didn't I do it that way?
Well, I would assume that it depends on how many you need. If you're going to make a cast, then you'd be able to have 6 of them easily. But if you only need 1...
No, but the thing is even if you need a lot of them, throw the EVA foam into a laser cutter.
And get them all cut
fair
out,
enough.
And we're
assembly
talking
line
like,
it.
you can batch it out like crazy fast.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I have yet to work with a laser cutter firsthand a lot, but yeah, okay.
You only do one.
Yeah.
You don't need multiples.
Well, personally, yeah.
Yeah.
But in general, I mean, I haven't had a chance to really work with one. I've been around a couple.
Yeah, but you haven't needed it. But we
Fair
were
enough.
looking into it. Actually, that's why we started doing this live stream, was because I saw your foam mail.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, I want to make that into a shirt. And I was hunting down a laser cutter.
Right.
I
Well,
did get you guys some, didn't I?
Yeah.
yeah, oh yeah, you did.
We did the whole Witcher armor with it.
Actually,
Right.
Yeah.
Specifically, what started the stream, or a big part of starting the stream, was that you had watched your episode, Ben, with Adam Savage Untested, and Adam had the one comment of wanting to make a full jerkin or shirt out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one of
I
you
was like-
said, well, I don't know how to pattern that.
And I was like, oh, I know how to pattern that. So I have it patterned 4 different ways, and so we were talking about it, and then he's like, "Oh, look what I got sent in the mail," and I was like, "I want to play with that, but that's not enough for the shirt. Let's just do that can make armor, but it can do Witcher armor." So that's why we ended up with that. But it was
so you got it. You might have a better idea how much you need. You let me know how much you need. I'll get you enough to make the shirt.
Awesome.
I want to see it happen.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah.
I actually think I have it written down like over there somewhere. The map.
Right, we have it
how
written
much
down
it
somewhere.
Needs, so.
I think we used. Was it just a package for The Witcher, or was it a package
Full pack
and a half?
for his abs.
Full pack for his abs. So it's probably about a pack and a half for his abs. So yeah, I'd have to guess like 4. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I have no idea.
What I can do too is that, like any production line, we have a lot of offshoots where like 70% of the sheet is fine, but some of it doesn't work. So I'll be the jerk, but I'll send you the stuff that is mostly good, but not completely.
Honestly, I feel like the scraps would work because you can do it in a continuous loop. So you really could use the
Right.
ends.
No, I'm totally cool with B-Stock. I really, really like working with a product called What the Foam. And the fact that I can order B-Stock direct from the Cosplay Apprentice makes me really happy.
Yeah. Especially if it's just beef.
Is that the term? Is that like, so I'm new at the whole marketing thing. So B-Stock, and we can just sell it as such.
Yes. In fact, SKS Props with his HD foam, if you're actually meaning HD foam in the brand name and not in the style, he was giving me B-Stock at first. B-Stock being, it has imperfections. There's bubbles, or I got stepped on, or whatever. Yeah.
Okay.
No, I'm going to take a note of that.
Yeah.
So future stuff is our dyes are not necessarily made to cut the What the Foam, but there is some higher density stuff, and it makes for much heavier stuff, but we're finding that the testing is showing that it's LARP friendly. Like the foam chainmail is kind of light, and it can get damaged, but if you just add a con, it's not a big deal. But like the LARPers wanted it, and we're like, well, it's probably not gonna last. This other stuff, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, remember we were talking about that. Because you sent us the secret stuff out of the heavier foam versus the lighter weight foam. And the lighter weight foam, you'd be afraid of ripping it when you lifted your arm or did something, although it would stand up to wear and tear, and you could back it with like a liner.
Yeah.
The heavier density stuff, that stuff was like great.
Yeah,
it
it worked so much better too.
It was great for LARPing and moving. It could breathe, and it also could stretch and take the stress of joints,
And it also laid better because because gravity seems to grab it better. If it's super light, it wants to float away, and it looks good, but like it doesn't lay right.
Yep, the heavier weight and chainmail, it matters which way it goes because it has to go like those Chinese finger traps.
Yes. It has to go the right way, or else it's not going to lock and hold. And
Also, if you do it the wrong way around the sleeves, you can't. Your sleeves don't work.
Right.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, it's also making sure to put in a diamond shape in the armpit, because if you don't do that, then you're like, oh, I can lift my arms this high.
Yeah, you have to have a godet in there, because the higher your armpit, the more motion you're going to have,
mobility or motion
in your arms, but it also has to stretch over your shoulder, so that's why they drop it. But godet, that little triangle piece, gets it right up in your armpit and gives you the space to lift your arm. So
Oh, I'm so looking forward to this shirt pattern, because these are things that I would have to learn the hard way.
I worked at a costume shop, and we had so much chainmail that was fun to play with.
Yeah.
And I've seen it bad. I've seen it good.
Right. We also did one shoot with Smosh, which was done with an army, where you went out and rented
every type of chainmail, from the knit.
It was spray painted knit macrame. Had actual aluminum chainmail. Had plastic chainmail.
Yeah, we had plastic chainmail. You couldn't tell the difference. They were all in the same army next to each other.
Right.
Yeah.
But foam mail is like, I love the idea of concept. Makes sense completely.
And other things that you notice too, though, is if you look at the patterns of the 1200 chainmail, is that the arm itself is put in a pose where it's actually pre-bent.
They have a dart here at the elbow.
Yeah, and I'm sitting there going, is that really necessary? And I was talking to some friends of mine, and they're like, oh, hell yes.
I see people make their first armor out of chainmail. They do it as easy and T as possible.
Yeah.
And then as they go, I actually have to wear this thing.
Yeah.
You know what would be nice is if it tapered. If there was a little bit of an extra space here so I can move, and then I need something here so I can move this.
or what they do is they just cut it off. Like, it's funny
T-shirts.
because you know that this is what was going through back in, the 900s to 1200s. So they made the shirt, they did the arm didn't work, they cut it off here and threw on pauldrons because it was too much, right? And you just like, the story now just by looking at it as to why that sleeve was short. People are like, well, it was more effective. And it's like, no, as a maker, I can tell you that is not why they did that.
I know exactly. I see the frustration it's showing.
Yep. Hundreds of years, no.
Yeah, they didn't have foam back then.
No. It took a little more effort to make.
Metal.
Yeah, you have to draw the wire.
Yeah.
Actually, I have a question from Jerry Rig Props. I have a question for Ben. Is there a movie or TV show that you'd like to work on that you haven't yet?
Absolutely, and so Indiana Jones, hands down, my ultimate.
Yeah.
And they're just finishing off that one. I think I'm not sure if they've wrapped or when they're going to finish it off, but that is by far would be the I'm done. My career as far as movies go, I'm happy, I'm good. Anything else from here is gravy. Because Ghostbusters was definitely up there.
Oh yeah,
getting on that was beyond belief. And then if I could do an Indiana Jones, I'm pretty sure they'll keep the franchise going even after Harrison Ford is or is not around.
They have the young
saying,
Indiana Jones. They have like 3 or 4 different versions of him. I would not
Right.
disappoint in that character. Yeah.
I just I want to do something with Harrison Ford. That would really be it. The ultimate dream for me. Going into Ghostbusters or in movies in general, it was funny. Okay, so I'll tell you a little story here.
Please.
I had to fly out to Vancouver to work on Star Trek Beyond. It was my first movie, and I lost my credit card, and I had to call and get my credit card. And all of these answers have changed now, but they asked, what's a security question? And one of the security questions is what would be your ultimate job? And it was Mythbuster was the answer, right?
Yeah.
Then I get onto Ghostbusters and I'm working on it, and they say, hey, we need to get this ghost whistle, and we got this prop maker making it. I'm like, who's making it? And they go, well, it's Adam Savage. And my boss is looking at me, he's like, Ben. I'm like, what? It's like, I'll give you his email. Ben? So, I got to meet him. I went down to LA to pick up some of the props, and then, he came out to set for a little bit and did his video series and stuff. And I'm very blessed that we're very much the same kind of guy. So we get along really well. In fact, one of the coolest things that ever happened to me ever was that he was done filming. We'd done my trailer, and it was lunchtime, and I went back to my trailer to relax because I'm a lot ADHD, so I need that quiet time occasionally just to reset. So I go, and then Adam was sitting in there, and I'm like, oh, did you want to see something? He's like, no, I really like hanging out with you. And I was like, really? So yeah, and we've stayed in touch and bounce things off each other, and it's so much fun that you meet somebody that you idolize, and later on find out he's exactly who you think he is and becomes a friend. You can't beat that.
That's good to know, because I totally geek out over Adam Savage too.
Totally, and I'm pretty sure what you see is what you get with Adam. So that's definitely what I want to believe. That's cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's amazing. It's almost noon, so I'm going to interrupt briefly just so I can go on and click public. Nothing's going to change for us, but I'm just going to open it up for everyone else to be able to jump in.
I'm going to run and grab my drink, and I'll be
Go
right
get your
back.
drink, yes.
Well, you do that.
While I do that.
Well, keep everybody entertained and click on the...
Yeah, everybody, let's watch Odin fumble the computer. But I would love to meet Adam Savage. I have not yet. I've been in the same con with him a couple of times, but never quite managed to cross paths in a way that could say hello.
Well, as much as he's at a different level of celebrity than you.
Oh, in a big way.
We went out for dinner at Toronto Comic-Con and stuff like that, and it's it's one of those things where it can be a struggle just to be in public sometimes, and it never was with him, but you can see that everybody's looking, and it can be like, you're like, this has gotta exhaust you,
Yeah, I would imagine. I have no idea, because like you say, totally different level. The best thing for me is I'm out with Joe. He's been on my show a number of times. We're out to birthday dinner with him and a whole bunch of friends at the sushi place, and the waiter keeps just coming by more often than you really should, and he finally comes down close. Are you Odin Makes? It's like, yes. Hello, how's it going?
Yeah.
Which that's all I get, which is a lot of fun. But yeah.
I was on a Canadian reality TV show called Canada's Greatest Know-It-All at one point, and there was about a 6-month window where I'd be walking down the mall and people are like,
"You're that know-it-all."
Yeah.
So before my show, Odin Makes, I was on another channel called DIY Prop Shop as one of the rotating hosts. Right, that's kind of what got me started doing the maker videos. Just maybe a year ago at the most, I was at Home Depot and somebody walked up to me in one of the aisles and like, "You're that guy, you're that maker guy," and I looked at it, "Yeah, you're on DIY Prop Shops." Like, "Yes, I am."
People recognize my little Odin Makes pin.
Yep.
Yeah. There was, it was a few months ago, but Adam had put out the scale mail stuff that we were putting out.
Right.
And I was going through the Starbucks drive-through, and the guy literally just finished watching that episode, and I drove up, and he's like, "I know you."
That's amazing. Yeah, that's amazing. Hey, we're starting to pop in. So we just clicked over to being public. For the past 45 minutes or so, Felicia and I have been talking with Ben Eadie.
Yeah, we have this.
He's right up over here somewhere. Hey, everyone. But that part of the stream was always set aside as far as the live portion for everybody who's a member of my Patreon. So if you wanted to get in on the pre-show, please check out Odin Makes over on patreon.com. But for right now, we're now fully public to everyone. So the stream is open. And we've been talking. We're going to continue talking with Ben for the next couple of hours about Proton Packs, about his experience with Ghostbusters Afterlife, about hanging out with Adam Savage, which I'd love to hear more of. But for right now, hi, I'm Odin.
Hi, I'm Felicia.
Keep it serious, folks.
Keep it serious. Okay, fair enough. Oh, yes.
Oh my gosh, you could totally do Darkwing Duck for Halloween.
And we're also going to talk about Ben's collection of Fraggle Rock masks made by people who make Fraggle Rock.
Yeah.
But no, this is awesome. So, when was it? It wasn't even after the last stream. You contacted me when I was in the shop working with another friend on last week's video.
Try to finish something.
Yeah, trying to finish something. Now, it was the Pike mask. That's right. We were making the Pike Guard mask from Book of Boba Fett. And so, in the middle of me working with Sean, I suddenly get a text from you saying, "Hey, mind if I crash the stream?"
Yes, please, and thank you.
Yes, please. Sean actually talks about that in his video because he made his own version of what was going on. He's like, So as I'm sitting there in the shop working, Odin starts talking to guys that are.
Yeah. I feel bad about some of my friends because my phone will go off occasionally, and there's a couple of jobs and sort of side things I'm doing, and I'll get texts from celebrities or something like that, and not because they're celebrities, but they pay very, very well for anything they ask me for. Mm-hmm. So I'll be like, "Yeah, I got a minute," and like, "What are you doing?" So I'm texting, "Who? Adam who? Savage." They're like, "What?"
But it's the project. My brain's not there.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I'm not, it's not like they're not incredibly important to me. It's just yeah.
Yeah. And it's also not, you're not trying to flaunt the people you know around the other people you're with. It's just what's happening. Yeah.
The name dropping.
Right.
But it's still fun.
You feel like, when you give somebody a candid answer, and there's times where I've finally in my career gotten to the point where for me it's saying, "Hey, I was talking to Jason Reitman." And people are like, "What?" And for me, it's like, "Oh yeah, that's not a normal thing."
No, it's not.
I feel like it's fun because I like it when my friends meet famous people because the 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon, it means like I'm closer to knowing more famous people. So I'm like, "Oh,
there you go.
Awesome. Who else do you know?
Got it.
Right.
I got to throw Kevin Bacon on my list.
Yes, definitely.
How many degrees?
I know for sure 1 degree now, but I haven't met him yet. So
Right?
It'll happen.
yeah.
And then you can ask him about his best movie ever, Tremors. Okay, maybe not.
I don't know.
So-
Where'd they get the sandworms from, though?
No, which canon for the movie or who made the sandworms?
Canon for the movie.
Good. In which case, they never actually specified, and that was by design, which I appreciated.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Leaves room for speculation.
it does. I think they tried to nail it down in some of the sequels, but I'll be honest, I haven't watched all the sequels.
Well, and the thing is that, like, being a little more involved in Ghostbusters now is that there's certain things you can and can't explain, because leaving that gray area leaves you a lot more story opportunities, and I'm finally kind of wrapping my head about that.
Okay.
Saying how a prop worked or stuff is easy, but why was the prop done, and why did Egon, the character, so we're in the universe, not in the reality. I try to avoid some of the in the universe questions because there was somebody
Right.
recently was saying that there was an argument, and it was good and bad. It's like, did Egon unlife himself when he was being attacked, or was he killed by the attack in the movie? And I don't like the idea of somebody offing themselves at the same time. Somebody said that it allows people to put their imaginations to use, and it was like it allows for the interpretation that people should have, and I agree with that. Like, you can only spoon feed them so much fiction.
Right.
You got to have the rest to fill in the blanks.
Yeah.
So
Good illusions, your mind fills in the blanks naturally.
Right.
Yeah, I feel like you get a better experience, like when you get to be part of the imagination. It's like, ooh, why is that working?
yeah, but
Is that
as
gonna
soon
work?
as somebody hands me like a super thick book, I generally try to avoid them, because it's like it's spoon feeding me every detail. I don't need to know what buttons were on the shirt. I'll do that, please.
Yeah.
You sure you don't want to know what buttons are on the shirt?
Unless they're magical and do something, nope.
Now, what I do like is almost, so in the movie, like some of the original Star Trek movies, I think specifically Star Trek V is the one where they were doing it, they started labeling the parts GNDN. They'd be a GNDN-1, GNDN-N2, and GNDN means goes nowhere, does nothing.
It's like FUBAR,
Yep,
but we're
just
not
like-
going to use that here.
No. Although I'm sure everyone recognizes, is not beyond recognition for everyone on that one.
Although, working in one of the special effects shops in Vancouver, somebody had two things that they say. It was swag, so it's a scientific wild-ass gas.
Okay.
Swag, right?
I thought
All
that
right.
And the
was,
other guy, he goes, I'm like, well, we should go get a measuring tape. And he's like, no, I'm just going to use my iometer. And I'm
Iometer's
like,
good.
Okay.
I trust my iometer.
Yeah, I trust my iometer for my imperial units.
Yeah. As long as it's calibrated accordingly.
Right.
My brother and I once, this is so nerdy, but
Good.
my brother and I once, we were hanging out, and we had there were some calipers on our table, and so we turn around backwards and see how close we could get. Say like a person would go like 1/8 of an inch, and see how close you could get it just by eyeball, and then you turn around and find out how accurate. My brother would be within 1 thou almost every time. Piss me off.
My
God.
brothers would be, but I'm not technically touching you. How far can I get?
Right?
Oh, and then he discovered this one. I'm touching you. I'm touching you.
Oh, great.
But yeah.
I missed out on the brothers thing. Okay, no, I didn't.
No. Enjoy being the only.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, I have questions. We can
Good
ask
questions.
these.
Great. So, yeah.
Oh.
No. You ask questions. I was
Okay.
going to. I should.
I
not
wanted
do
to
that.
know what was the heaviest proton pack and what was the lightest proton pack?
Okay, heaviest proton pack by far. The one that you see in the shop that she's working on when she pulls out the emitter and everything, that was cast aluminum. It weighed about 60 pounds.
Oh.
Wow.
That thing was brutal.
Did it have all the bells and whistles in it?
It was made for the shot. It was very specific for the shot. So it did not have all the, like, it had all the bells and whistles for the shot, a lot of the interior pieces. It didn't have, like, spinning lights. It lit up just barely. So, yeah, it was it really was sort of just a stationary prop that you'd get to work on. And then the second part was the lightest prop.
Yeah, which one was the lightest one so that they got to run in, or, you know, like when you had to make it as light as possible for them to physically do things in.
So this is really interesting. Is it, again, this is one of those things where you get into a production and interpretations happen, and we got stunt packs, but the stunt packs they sent us had steel frames on them. And if you're doing stunts, you don't want a chunk of anything sharp or metal on you, because what they were doing for the scene was bad. So I reached out to a friend of mine, Frank Ippolito, and he runs Thingergy, and said, hey, we're in a bind. I need some help. I need some stunt packs. And he's like, I'm in. And he cranked these things out. They're all foam rubber. And I think they weighed like 5 pounds, 6 pounds maybe. Like you look at them, you know how you grab that jug of milk that's empty, and you're the same thing. You grab it, you're like, oh.
All of these props.
Yeah.
Every one of these props. It looks like it weighs a lot more than it really does.
Oh, I love throwing some steel helms at people when they walk into my shelf. They're like, ah!
Yep, you have an iron that's foam.
I have an iron that's, I guess,
That's meant for throwing at people.
Yeah.
So I'm curious. You said the heaviest one was cast aluminum, not machined aluminum. Was it? It seems to me like it'd be a lot more work to go through making the tooling to make the cast to then make the prop than to just mill it. Or am I wrong?
Yes and no. Remember that this is going to be for close-ups. It's got to be perfect, right?
Okay.
And they wanted it to look as close as it could to the 84 pack. So this was, I believe it was a Spengler pack that they casted off of, the original 1984 Spengler pack.
Okay.
So they wanted like the texture and all the flaws, because, man, Ghostbusters fans are freaking crazy, man. Like, you're talking like, oh, okay, it's got a dimpling effect here, but there's 3 over there that look like, you know, their Orion belt, and you're like, what? That's how I identify it.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, we were looking that close. Where do these little pieces go on that one crankshaft box?
Right.
And yeah, you go to the movie. What does it look like? Close up.
Yeah.
Those shots are
And
the ones
so-
you reference.
But as far as the casting goes, it wasn't as hard as you would think. No, I didn't
Okay.
do it, but it was done. These were built at the Hand Prop Room, or HPR, in LA.
Okay.
And, you know, if you're doing a silicone mold, if you're only going to use it once, you can do aluminum casting in it, right?
Oh,
It will
interesting.
take the heat for a little bit. So they can just, you know, you buy a little more expensive silicone, you do the cast, and then they did, like, I'm not sure exactly how they cast it. They sent it out to be done at some, you know, metal foundry or whoever,
Yeah.
and, you know, got it back that way.
Okay.
That's more than my smithing skills. That's for sure.
Okay. No, that makes more sense. I think I just mentally made it a lot more difficult to get a casting than that. And the
But
idea of only needing it once or twice makes a lot of sense. I have looked at silicone for casting metals, and
Yeah.
I always kind of thought, well, the temperatures aren't right. This isn't going to work.
But they use
True.
silicone and baking.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like it could handle some higher temperatures.
Apparently, it can once.
Yeah.
You can get silicones that are good up to about 2,000 degrees, I think. And,
Oh, okay.
you know, aluminum will come out at, what, 1,700, I think, is molten.
That
So-
it's been a long time since I was looking it up.
You don't need
I
to know
think
until
this-
you need to know.
And I'm probably talking Celsius, too, because, well, I'm in Canada.
It's all good.
That all being said, I have a tattoo of inches on my arm.
Oh, you do now?
For reference.
So, but the reason for that is one, the ruler's prettier because you have, like, you know, each graduation strip is the same length as what it's donating or denoting.
Right.
Like the half inch is half an inch long. And so I think it's a prettier ruler. And the other thing is up in Canada, we have dimensional lumber and dimensional metal. Everything's in feet and inches.
Okay.
And 90% of the stuff I do is in that. So this makes more sense.
Yep.
Gotcha. So did you get that tattoo before or after you met Adam?
I got it before I met Adam.
Oh, nice.
But I'll be completely honest. Adam had his. I saw that, and I'm just like, that's freaking genius. Because I literally, right on my desk, and this isn't always the way, but I'll have calipers and rulers and all sorts of stuff. But I will invariably lose them all and not know where they are when I most need them. If I lose this ruler, I got bigger issues to deal with. Right?
Yes.
And it's, yes, I know it's not dead accurate, but it ballparks me and it's accurate enough. So
Right.
you know, that's it. I use it 2-3 times a week, easy. I think it's one of the handiest things I've ever done.
Makes a lot of sense to me.
handiest things you've ever done.
RMDS?
Arvius?
Just gonna go out on a limb here.
I
Yeah,
just want
I get to see that I'm a tool now, too.
Aha! We're all measuring up our puns. So Chester 8DC says you're doing a great job with the stream and greetings from Peru. I just want to it's a super
Peru?
chat, so I just wanted to say hello right back to
Yes.
to Chester. And of course a couple of my patrons also did super chat with Moon Eyes and Shady. So thank you guys as well. I didn't say it earlier, but I'm having a lot of fun talking to Ben. So sorry guys.
But thank you. And liking this video is free, so
Right.
if you want to support Odin.
Hey, yeah, so let's do the whole liking of. I can do that.
Oh yeah, you can do that.
Right.
Hey, well, so let's see. Dan Does Junk popped in. So the moderator, Chloe Incarnate, is saying that, yeah, metric is superior, which,
But I agree. I think inches look prettier.
Yeah.
The ruler does look much better.
I never thought about that, but yes, it does.
It depends on the circumstances. Now, I am full on with the metric thing. But have you ever thought about when you start working in, remember my background is aeronautical engineering and having to do calculus and everything like that, and having something where you're not base 10 can change things. But at the same time, when you have like half and half and half, how do you think like bits and computers work with the 720, 1080? Those numbers are based off of halves and quarters and basically halving things constantly. If you
Right.
look at the imperial system based off of halving, it makes sense in a different way of looking at things. It's like looking at math. You can do regular notation and reverse polar notation for doing vectors. Both of them are so different and annoying, but they definitely have their uses because one makes more sense in the circumstance. So you can badmouth Imperial all you want. The fact is it has its place.
I completely agree. And then also it's easier to have like 7 versus 18. Just 7 inches versus 18 units. I
Well,
like working with less units. It's
What
chunks
happens
it.
when we meet aliens from some other universe that have like, an odd number, like 13 fingers or something like that, and they have a base 13 counting system? We're screwed,
It's not a problem because when we fly up to their advanced spaceship with our retrofitted technology, we can easily upload a virus from our Mac. It's not going to be a problem.
Is that how it's going to play out?
Well, that's what worked in Independence Day the first time.
I would have felt better if Independence Day was more like Mars Attacks, but like
Right.
Rick roll them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, that
And
would be
just
great.
just mash every stupid thing you can together,
Yeah.
But I love the fact that you're pointing out that the Imperial system is basically based on having everything.
Oh, yeah, that's how I
doing
map
halves.
it.
Yeah, it is how you
Just
map it, but I
fold it in
never
half.
really thought about the units being done that way.
Yeah, no, it,
I
Yeah.
think the proper way my math instructor would probably be able to set is it's a doubling. So you have like 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32. And that's how everything, it just,
Okay.
when you're trying to lay things out and grid it makes more sense. Like if you're trying to solve something with a matrix, the doubling or the halving makes way more sense. But again,
Okay.
that's just, I'm on the wrong channel for that.
you don't know until you know, and then you just, and you're like, yeah.
It's all good. I'm happy to talk about anything making or roughly related, barely tangent to it.
Yeah. How many unit cat toys?
Yes, how
it's
many cat
units.
toys tall is this? Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Do these units function together?
How many cows away from me are you exactly?
I think quite a few.
Well, there's a friend of mine came up to me once and asked, what was it, on a scale of 1 to 10, what's your favorite color of the alphabet?
That's a
I
good
can
one.
count to purple backwards, so.
Yeah. My answer was haggis.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
So one of the things I know you wanted to talk about, and now that we're actually open to having like the public be here and part of it, and we got quite a few people yelling out hello and spaceship and hi, how's it going?
Hello, everyone.
Hey everyone. Hey everyone, it's Ben. this is my friend Ben Eadie.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you actually had a project coming up. You got a project you're working on that actually sounded really cool to me, and I would love it if you would talk a little bit about that. Do you feel comfortable talking about it?
I totally
now that I
can
put
talk
you on a
about that
spot.
because the first video is going to be out in the next day or so, and it's going to be on the Ghostbusters YouTube channel. So during filming of the movie, I may have completely destroyed a very expensive prop in the filming of the RTV. The wheeled trap got squished, and it got squished underneath the camera car at about 30 miles an hour down a gravel road. So that scene that you see, the side view of the RTV coming across the screen, or basically beside the ecto, a few seconds later it died. There's no, and it was completely under my control, completely my fault. I thought I was going to be fired. Unfortunately, or fortunately, it was a very good shot, and they were happy with it, so I didn't get fired. And we, like a movie, one is none. You never make just one of. So you basically play with it until you're down to one. Mm-hmm. So we weren't there yet. So after everything was said and done, we harvested it for spare parts for the other RTVs, and they told me to throw the box of stuff out after we'd written it off. So I threw it out into the dumpster of my car, and I vowed to rebuild it. And I've for years been looking at this box of parts, and it's sort of like, as a kid you break something and you're like, I can fix it, and you put it on your shelf, and you've been just dreaming of the day. So finally something came up, and the movie's being released, and I got a hold of production and said, okay, I fessed up. I have a prop, and it's the pieces, but it was being thrown out anyways. I wonder if you'd be interested in if I do a YouTube video series on me rebuilding it. And Sony said, yes! And I was like, woohoo! So the first video of me going to the Sony lot and interviewing Jason on the RTV and some of the movie stuff that we did will be coming out on the Ghostbusters channel. And give me a second here. I got to find the Ghostbusters channel. There's filters. We're a type channel there. I'll put the link in the chat there.
Yeah, please drop the link. Now, one thing you said, which is really fun for me to think about, and I know that we even had some extra time dilation recently. So during production, this RTV got squished, and you looked at this box for years and didn't do anything with it. Now, for all of us, this movie just came out.
Oh my god, dude! Like that, it can be so very frustrating. That here, I'm just going to put that one Ghostbusters link up.
Oh, please do.
So it's hard when you do a movie and you do something really, really cool, and you can only talk to, like, say, your wife, and even then there's like, I'm lucky that my wife is almost anti-geek, so I can tell her anything and I know it's in one ear out the other, I'm safe.
Right.
But I'm sure there's a lot of my friends who can't, because you can't risk these stories coming out. And Jason made a very good point when we're on set. He said, let's pretend this is a present to all the gifts, or to the fans. And
right.
You can give hints that there's a gift, but I don't want you to spoil it to anyone, because it's always good to unwrap the present. And everybody really took that to heart. This is a movie where everybody on set was truly a fan. Like, everybody was in it for the right reasons. And I'm worried. I'm a bit of a tangent, but I'm worried that it's going to be the best show I've ever worked on, because everybody was so into it. It was one of the best work environments I'd ever been on. I made more friends and had more fun in my entire life on that set than anywhere else. And I'm somewhat concerned that the bar is so high now that I'm never going to see that again. But, regardless, so I forgot where I was. I'm completely on a tangent.
Well, you're going to share your link with the video,
right?
Which I don't think you have yet. My mod says that they're going to clear it.
But one of the deals that I made with the Ghostbusters channel is I'm...
and I'm seeing people already saying, I'm subbing to the Ghostbusters YouTube channel right now.
So I've also got my channel. So some of the videos, part of the deal is that some of the videos are going to be on the Ghostbusters channel, and some of them are going to be on my channel, because I want to grow my channel.
That's the right way to do
it. I want to be a professional YouTuber like Odin.
So what is your channel?
Well, mine's really easy. I got lucky, as if you know how to spell my last name, you will know that it's youtube.com/Ben Eadie. And I just put that link up into the chat. I'm not sure
Awesome.
if what I'm putting up for the chat is going into the full chat or not. But
I'm not. It's interesting. I'm not seeing it. Are you putting it into the chat for the live stream, or are you putting it into the chat for our meeting?
in the chat for the meeting, the live stream, if I put that on, we'll end up having delay in feedback. You make a very good point. That's why I'm not seeing all these questions. I'm so smart. SMRT.
SMART. Well, so you don't have the live stream up on your end.
No, I don't.
Excellent.
So
Okay.
would I be able to get one of you to transfer those two links?
I'm on two different computers, so
He has to go to the
I can
laptop
do it, but the
around.
laptop's over there. Then it sends the signal so we can see you.
Modern
Yeah.
problems.
Modern problems.
Wait a minute. Okay, so I'm going to try something. Now, if I feedback, I am...
Well, you should be able to
terribly
mute the YouTube window itself. So
sorry. Yeah, I know, but... Oh, and it was low. It wasn't blasting volume. We got
that's
lucky.
good.
here.
We are
Okay.
lucky.
So, I'll put those links in myself and stop asking everybody to do my job.
That's all right.
It's okay. We're just
Anyway,
live.
some of them are going to be on my channel. My channel, all things being told, is years and years ago. I worked as a freelance engineer, and I would do a lot. Oh, it's not letting me send that second link. Anyway, I do a lot of CAD work, so there's a lot of SolidWorks stuff in the background, but there's a lot of cosplay stuff that I've done over the last few years and stuff. And I'm just trying to, I want to work from home a little more. I still want to do movies and stuff, but my wife's career is doing exceptionally well, and we've got 2 kids, and the usual family struggles. But things that people don't know is if you're working on a movie, even if I'm working at home, it can be 16, 18-hour days, and you don't see your family, and it can be tough. So, yeah.
Yeah, when you're in project mode, you're in project mode.
Mm-hmm.
And people are calling at any time, and you need to be braining.
Right, and you remember where you're at and what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense.
There we go. So I'll put those 2 links up there, and then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to save bandwidth because,
No, it's totally fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a question. We're trying to fit as many special effects into our Proton Packs as possible.
Yes.
Like, we want to have fun, bells and whistles. What is your order of list of must have in your Proton Pack of the coolest to the, no one's ever going to notice or care on that one? Like,
Okay, so I realize that I find noisy environments bug me. So anytime you have props with noises on it, I want to yank that speaker out and see some dangling wires. So I'm not saying that don't do that. If that's your thing, that's cool, but it's not my thing. So that's the bottom end. You got to have the lights.
I
like
can
the
appreciate
friends'
that.
kids, I give them noisy toys.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. Done that before. Help someone pick out their Go-Go Power Rangers gloves to give to the young
Before my
child.
wife and I had kids, went over to a friend's place and they had kids, and we got them this loud fire truck toy because we're thinking, like, if I was a kid, this is what I'd want, right? And years later, when we had kids, they brought over the most obnoxious, loud thing that they knew that our kids would play with, and it was about a month in, and I'm like, why would you do that? And they're like, yeah, about 10 years ago, we were asking the same thing of you.
Yeah, once the batteries are dead, oh no, we can't fix it.
Well, luckily, Dad knows how to do things like you can dampen sound with, like, you can even just put a piece of duct tape over a speaker underneath the toy. They don't see that, and it's enough to muffle it to make it acceptable.
Done that. All the lightsabers I built for Beyond Geek has heater tape over the speaker so it wouldn't blow the mics out. Yep.
Yeah.
So no sound effects.
But as far as I think things go, is the number one would be make sure all the lights are in there.
Right.
But make it so, and I'm going to give you a trick here. Now, and this wasn't done on the Proton Packs for the show. Again, there's so many things that you learn afterwards that you really wish you knew before. Mm-hmm. But at any rate, the lights on it and being able to reprogram them so that you can change the sequence to whatever you want. So I like to have I'm a nerd and I want everything to be canon and perfect guy. You hit a switch and then you have hey, look at this really cool effect I made with the lights and my switch kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And you can do that. There's a new programming system out there. Instead of using Arduinos and stuff, which is great, but there's a new system out there called Beconix, and it's Bekonix. And I'll do the links.
Write it down later.
Yeah.
These guys
It's
developed a
recorded.
board where there's a graphic interface that is super easy to use on a computer. But this is where it gets really, really cool.
Okay.
Number one, it's Bluetooth, right?
So
So you don't have to wire
this is
anything.
much
You
easier.
can stuff it to your prop, and once you have everything wired and seal it up, you're good, right?
Okay.
Right? Second thing, you can control it with your phone, with your iPad, with your computer, or anything that runs Bluetooth. You can control it with a Raspberry Pi. So I've been on sets since where they're like, we need these blinky lights. Yeah, I got it. Threw the blinky lights in. They're like, oh, I want it to be red. And you can see the prop master going, oh, we're screwed. And I'm like, dude, okay, it's red now. And they're like, and you look like a god, right?
Okay. Now entering party mode. Okay.
I love color changing light bulbs on set in general.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
the magic.
Right. So
Okay.
if you're doing it on a professional level, I'd say spend the extra money, get the expensive LEDs that have 4 wires going in. So you
Right.
have you have power in, power out, or the power and ground, sorry.
Right.
Then you'll have data in, and you also have clock in. Now, clock in allows you to adjust the flicker of the LED. So if somebody's camera is not shutters set a certain way, the LED might flicker. You can adjust the timing so that it doesn't flutter, but still be able to dim everything down. But
Okay.
if you're just doing cosplay stuff, just get the 3-wired stuff. So you've got basically power, and then you have data in, data out for these LEDs, like they're
Right.
WS2812s.
Yeah,
I'll be
that's-
doing some videos on my site
Yeah.
on this. In
That-
fact,
That's what I was thinking about, because I just been buying the strips of the WS2812s or whatever they are, and then I cut the individual pieces out.
to program them with the Baconic system, and they use the itsy bitsy Bluetooth boards. It is. I want to throw it every expletive. It is unbelievable. Honestly, this is the kind of thing that the reason why I'm doing so well in the movies is that I'm willing to take a risk and adopt some of this stuff. But if it works, you look like a freaking god on set, and people
Okay.
really notice. So take the risk occasionally, and
Yeah.
push past people. And go, oh,
Yeah.
that's not the way it's been done. We've done it this way always, and sometimes that's valid. Most of the times it's not. Like it or not, even me, I'm like, oh, this is the only way I know how to do it. And some kid's like, why don't you just hit this button? And you're like, because I never thought of it.
Yeah, I didn't know about that button.
All the freaking time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's where the lighting and everything would come in. But there's more.
There's more.
It can also control, now that they've implemented it, so you can control sound boxes, so you can put in a little sound card. You'll be able to have it drive some speakers and have all your sound effects. It has ability to adjust servos, which means that then you can run motors, and you're looking at robots and stuff with a drag and drop interface that is just beautiful. So all of that stuff's there. All coming back to the last really cool thing that you can add to a Proton Pack that I think is totally worth it is get some vibrating motors, like you've seen a cell
Rumble
phone,
Pack.
but really big one, and have the wands. When you pull the trigger, it shakes. And there's a few people were going like, Phoebe and them acted pulling the trigger on the wand because it looks so good. And it's because, well, it shook like hell. That thing would just.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
You
watched
don't have to act surprised if something's surprising you. So build it into your prop. But it also makes it fun,
Oh yeah.
right? And do the same thing to the pack. Throw something really beefy in it. So like, you run it and you can't see clear because it's vibrating you so bad. That is going to make for a really cool.
Okay.
Immersive experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember that was one of those things that you had added in the interview with Adam Savage, that there was a Rumble Pack in there. I'm like, that is just so that it's interactive. Like it's
Yes.
where's the fine line between practical and
Right.
in post, or the actor has to fill in that line.
This is easy. Real tasers look awesome. Real tasers hurt like hell.
Yes, they do.
Make one that doesn't spark people but looks right.
Does it look? Yes.
Right. Which actually was one of the questions about asking you about the Taser Pke Meter.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, that's one of the things I have interest in making is a PKE meter. I've got the shoe polish body that I'd love to refurbish to make at least an 84 version. But I'm willing to update it and not have the 9 green LEDs. I'd rather have an updated screen.
So I'm working on my personal projects. I'm the same way. But Do you remember Sean Charlesworth on Tested did a cutaway lightsaber where you could see the insides?
Yes.
So I'm working on a cutaway PKE.
Oh, wow.
Right? So and this is going to be functional. All the lights are going to work, and even like, the flashlight and everything. It's just a matter of putting it all together. But yeah, that's one thing. So I think we need to collaborate a little bit.
Yes, please.
Yes.
Definitely. Especially if we can. I wouldn't mind making it do the taser portion as well, but I'm going to be really happy if it just, it's the PKE meter that got rented out to every B movie house throughout the rest of the 80s.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. Okay, so the tasers are illegal in Canada for the most part. You can get so it's not like down in the US where you can buy one. But so me experimenting and build one is not legal. So I can't legally do it, but I might actually do it. No, I wouldn't ever do it at my house, but it could happen.
I'm totally
idea what
happy
you're
to help
talking
you make an actual working taser PKE if that's what you want to do,
Right.
even though there's a bit
That
of
all
a
being
geographic
said
difference.
is, you were talking about old shows you did. A friend and I years ago did a YouTube channel called Mechanical Mashup, and
Okay.
he did this. They called it in this electronics book a tickler. This tickler was a low-power taser.
Okay.
So we built one. It's the story that goes along with it is quite fun. But it turns out that if you go to the dollar store, this is how Ben's mind works. If you go to the dollar store, those electric swatters that you have for bugs that
Yes.
zap them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, love those things.
Okay, so that's about 60% taser. Now, if you unwire that and you put in a relay or a timer so that it allows the capacitor to charge up and release, you have a full-on taser. So a friend of mine once was going to a stag party, and he asked if, he was joking. He's like, "Can you make me a taser?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "How much?" And I'm like, "About $5." Which made him go, "Come on." So he called me out, and the next day I tased him, and he told me that I was a freaking idiot, and then he took it to the party. So
He felt safe.
I made sure it was less powerful than most. Like it's not like it's going to take you down, but you
sting
can't
you?
ignore it.
Yeah. I liked it when those were free at Harbor Freight in the, they gave away random free things
Right.
back
Yeah.
when it was easier to use their coupons.
Back when they had paper coupons. I don't know if you're familiar with Harbor Freight Tools, because I don't know if they made it into Canada or not, but it's a U.S. chain of... What, they did?
No, they didn't. So in
okay.
Canada, we have a similar company called Princess Auto, and it's Harbor Freight. It's just rebranded. So I know exactly what you're
I
talking
would
about.
love to get Princess tools, so
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie.
Princess Auto actually sounds awesome.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, they got
Definitely.
the Princess hardware store.
Right, we just Harbor Freight.
We just have the freight.
Although, good or bad, this is tongue in cheek, but their tool line is called Power Fist, and that can be taken in so many bad ways.
Oh, it's totally a Warhammer 40K reference. The giant power fist the Marines use to defeat the Tyranids and the Eldar.
Two things have happened on this. One, the marketers are brilliant. Or two, the marketers
Are clueless.
completely oblivious.
Yeah.
But regardless,
I don't know what's wrong with Princess Power Fist. That just sounds like a superhero.
I see man, I should pitch them. I'm going to do you a comic. It's going to be a crossover between Hellboy and I don't know what anime princess should we use?
So I was excited to read recently that Ron Perlman was saying he's totally up for Hellboy 3 and feels that they deserve to do one for the fans, even though he's freaking tired and 70 years old.
You know what? The earlier question you were talking about and how I haven't, the movie that I would like to work on that I haven't would be the Indiana Jones.
Right.
And Hellboy, especially if it's Ron Perlman one.
Right.
I could just listen to the guy talk all day. His voice is just, dude, there's something about it.
You immediately make me think of Beauty and the Beast, a television show with Linda Hamilton from the 80s, right? Ron Perlman was the Beast, the main cat character. Well, he had makeup on in the show always to be this character. They started making audiobooks Ron Perlman couldn't get into character and do the audiobook unless he got the makeup on. So he had the full makeup on and most of the costume on in the recording booth to do the audiobooks.
Awesome.
That's so method. I love it.
Right. But the makeup will also change how he speaks, so that makes sense. But yeah.
It totally does. The video series that I'm doing for Sony and my channel, the other day I needed to redo some voiceover. I thought, hey, I'm going to use a trick that everybody does, is use your closet. So I took my voice recorder into the closet. It sounded dead and lifeless. Like, I'm going to have to go for the echo of my office because I see my things. I get excited. In a closet, I'm like, okay, so now you got to take this thing.
Right.
Like, oh.
Yes, you can hear smiles.
Yes, you can hear smiles. When I do all my VO for all my videos, I do it right here. I come down with my script and I hold it and do a little bit off camera, and I read it here so it has the same room tone as. And sometimes I'm able to cut between the two of them, and it sounds fine to me. And really hard for me to hear. It's like, all right, I should be the most picky.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I'm lucky. I just recently hired an editor to help me out with stuff. Because I'm doing stuff with Sony, I figured I'm going to throw some money at it and try to at least look like a professional.
Yeah, because you still need to. You're already in, but you need to impress them, right?
Well, and the thing is I can edit, but like I've had her do some stuff before this Tiana Winter, and she took something where I'm like, this is okay to, wow, this is actually really good. And it's amazing just knowing when and where to cut.
Good editors are completely worth it.
Yep.
Oh, completely.
You don't notice a really good editor, and that's the hard part because they're good at their job.
Well, and the thing is they pick up on stuff that you're completely blind to. Because we're doing stuff for Sony, we got to make sure there's no branding from anything ever on any of the screen, right?
Right.
And of course, I go out and I love coffee, and I have Tim Hortons, and I've got my Tim Hortons cup sitting on the desk, and I get a text from her going, "You're a jerk."
Actually, I had a comment earlier because with my tea mug, I've put duct tape over my own logo. Because we constantly joke about having duct tape coffee, right? Doesn't matter what coffee we're drinking or what drink it is, just put duct tape on it and don't worry about it.
Greek it.
Greek it.
But I found a cup that I can use on my stream is this. But what's really cool, you got Ghostbusters, but this is what we got from McKenna Grace.
Darn it.
As that crew gift, right? So she did a drawing and they did a little Slimer coming out of the trap.
What's he saying?
He's such a cool kid. Oh
that
my
is
God.
cool.
The kids on the show.
So we couldn't quite read what Slimer is saying. Is he saying something?
He's going, not again.
Oh, okay. So cool kids in the show. Sorry, I interrupted you.
No. They like McKenna Grace is one of the smartest kids I have ever met. Like, she is freaky smart. Like, her school instructor on the show decided, hey, we should teach her ukulele. And about a month in, McKenna's teaching the teacher ukulele because the teacher can't play what McKenna's playing.
Love it.
Yeah,
Love it.
and like so podcast. Logan, he reads incredibly well on camera. He's funny, but he is 10 times funnier in person. Oh my God, the camera people hated him because trying to hold the camera still while you're laughing and you're like, oh, this is crazy. He's so funny. Oh my goodness. Yeah. And again, super smart kid too. Holy cow. Like, it just,
Sounds like a good set environment. I love it when it just flows.
Yeah. Well, and things would be, normally you have divisions of trades. Like, you got set decoration, you've got props and stuff. So if something's broken on set deck takes care of it. Mm-hmm. It was one of those where something's broken, literally everybody would come in and go, how can I help? What do you need? I remember once going in to try to fix one of the packs, and set deck guys are over my shoulder, and I'm like, damn, I don't have my tool belt. And like, what do you need? I'm like, I need a screwdriver, multi-tool, and some tape. Literally, it was like a doctor ordering the tools. I was just like, I love this.
I make friends with the grip guys because they always have in their packs
Right.
gaff tape, which is usually I can fix it with gaff tape, and they have the Sharpies and sometimes blades.
Okay, so you're saying gaff tape?
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And knife.
Knife. There you are.
What else do you need?
What else do we need?
Right?
So
A safety pin, but that's usually on me.
Right. The way we really got to be good fast friends on set was
so close.
almost.
Yeah, I just off the side. I think
Just
I got
out of
one in there,
reach.
but I'm not gonna fish.
Yeah.
But Felicia and I got to be really good friends on set because of how often she'd come back and just borrow tools. Because I was always in the back of the building with the shop doing the thing, and yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And sometimes it just needs to work.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah, there's no time to figure out who did what or why. Just make it happen. And I love that environment so much. It's
Yes,
so
and
much
when you
easier to navigate when, you can point fingers, but that happens at the pub afterwards, and it doesn't happen now.
Yeah.
And
Right.
I like surrounding myself with talented people, and I
Yeah.
think it helps when you have a good group and you just groove. So
Yeah. Well, and you always get those surprise people. There's this one guy that came in to help just paint and distress all the props, this Peter White. And we needed a stunt trap to put in the car with Egon during the sequence where he's driving and it rolls over. They wanted the trap to actually be in there. And I'm like, well, you're not going to roll a car over with a 15-pound chunk of aluminum bouncing around.
No.
No way is stunt's going to allow this. So I said, we need to make a foam one. And Peter, overheard this, and he's only there to paint. He's like, I can do that. Can I try? And I'm like, sure.
Yeah.
Let's give it a go. And he's like, how long is it going to take you? He goes, give me 2 days. And I'm like, okay. I came back the next day. He's like, I'm done. It's on the table. So I go up to the table and I look down and I'm like, where is it? He says, it's right there. I'm like, what do you mean it's right there? Because there's a lineup of traps. He picks out the one in the middle and bonk, bonk. And I'm like, dude, you rock. I couldn't even tell it from the originals.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I love that.
And he was just this sleeper guy that was brought in to paint, and next thing you know is like he's the critical link to a lot of the problems that you need to have solved.
Yeah. Well, they feel like you get PAs on set, and then those people kind of get into everything, and then you're like, yes, you thrive because you found somebody who's like, you're talented and excited and passionate about this project. Yes.
And you just got a promotion.
Yes. And I will be asking you next time.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Well, and being able to go and ask these people too. This is one thing I love about Jason is that he'd go through some of the set or some of the script, and he was asking me about a few of the technical things. And he goes, "Does this make sense?" And I'm like, and he's like, "Okay, you're pausing. You want to tell me something negative, but he's like, just give it to me. Tell me." So you give him a rundown of why this would or wouldn't work. And he's like, "Okay, cool. So what would you do? You mentioned that, and the next script revision comes in and it's perfect." And you're just like, he listens. Like he wants to do it right, so he's gonna listen to everybody. Oh,
yeah.
Nice.
It's not like he's asking you to write the script. He's not gonna let you overdo the script. It's his story, but he's open to suggestions. And very few directors are like that. There's a lot that are like, this is the way it's gonna be, and that's hard to work with.
I definitely appreciate it when directors hire good crews and then use them to their full
Right.
ability,
Yeah.
because when you're allowed to fly, you tend to.
Yeah.
And obviously
you
that
get the
worked.
camera guy going, "Is this the shot you want?" And he's like, "Well, you're the one I hired to do the shot. Does it look right?" "Yeah." "Good."
Yes.
So,
Yes, I love that.
yeah.
Somebody brought up a trivia thing last week during the stream, I think, that for the final shot, or actually it's the opening shot of the movie too. There's the field full of ghost traps that all go off. Those were all the Halloween ones?
Yep.
Did you have any part of unpacking that pallet of toys?
Unfortunately, no. That was a definitely special effects side of things.
Okay.
That was handled by the effects department. So it wasn't Ilya. There's the guy's nickname is Chainsaw.
I've seen Summer School. I know that character.
At any rate, he's the guy who organized it all, but the guy who built and designed and made sure everything would work is a local guy named John Frost. And oh man, amazing! He's stepping up his game, and he's becoming a special effects supervisor, and not just the guy who's building stuff now. And
Okay.
I'm so proud to see people that you like to work with doing well and leveling up. Oh, it's such a good feeling. Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Definitely. When everybody wins, everybody wins.
Yes. I'm very excited when my friends are successful.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Well, and recently I was in a circumstance where somebody was upset about some of my cosplay stuff and how I was selling it at cons, and stole their business model. And I was like, well, I don't know how selling foam chainmail to con would be stealing anything, but
Right.
I always look at things like if you add water to the pool, more boats can float.
Yep.
Right?
Right.
So if you take that, then your competitors suddenly are really cool people to help nurture because they can make things bigger and more fun. Work with them.
Understand your
it's
problems.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense. We never, like, with the costume shop, we always were, like, sending people back and forth. If we didn't have it, oh, go to here. Because they know that it's going to be easy next time to come back. Because, oh, yeah, if you don't have it, I can go to the other place.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean.
If you've got the answer to their problem, that's almost worth way more than even having the product. Absolutely, they're going to come back because you
Right.
had the answer last time, so you might have the answer to something super obscure.
Yep, lots of people would just come in. All right, I'm going to this party. These are my challenges. And that's like, all right, well, you're not going to need to rent anything from us. You're going to go here, here, and here. And you're going to do this, this, and this. See you next time.
Here's Ben's number one trick to when he's stuck. If I'm stuck and I'm on set or I'm in a shop and working on a special effect or a prop and I can't find a solution, I'm part of a makerspace here in Calgary called Fuse 33. Now, the tools and everything they have are exceptional and how they keep the place is awesome, but that's not why I go. The brain trust at a makerspace is in freaking insane. There's not once that I haven't gone into, and I swear to this, that I've gone in with a real problem. I'm screwed. This isn't going to work. I don't know what to do. Walking out that door with a workable solution that does it every time, because all you have to do is walk in and go, I've got a problem. This is what I'm trying to make. Can anybody help me? And every freaking time there's somebody there. Oh, so even if you don't need the tools, go and hang out at a makerspace, buy them coffee, and just talk to them because the knowledge in those places is insane.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I saw that when I went to the Dallas Makerspace, and yeah.
A lot of like minds, and you totally geek out on things. I feel like
Yeah.
that's why we're friends. It's because it's like, I have a problem. Or you come to me, I'm like, I'm patterning something.
How do I do this?
Yeah. So.
Well, and you can go into a place like that and go, okay, so in the Mandalorian universe, there were some slight changes from the actual original Star Wars series. Now, at that point, my wife's eyes have completely glazed over. And she doesn't understand anything I'm saying, right?
Right.
She's like, okay, all I hear is moon conflict and armor. What do you want? Right? Versus you go into a makerspace and somebody's going to just get right in there with you. And you no translation necessary. They know.
You don't understand. It has to be moon particle surface, so it's a portable surface. Because if it doesn't have the moon dust, you're not going to be able to put a portal on it.
That reminds me of the Discord.
Yep.
That is what it is. Everybody,
what
work
it
in
is.
progress. I've hit this wall. Oh, you guys get it. You noticed. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's true. That's the Discord's got that a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people who geek out on these nerdy details of crafting. Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, for sure. I'm still terrified that the one day I'm going to get the one thing that I didn't do right on the movie is going to come to haunt me. But everybody's been like, my
texture.
mistakes are canon now, which is so weird. But
Oh yeah.
So much pressure, but you did it.
Make sure you put the right type of gray gaff tape on the cut hose.
It's canon now. Thank you for noticing.
I thought that was only for the patrons.
Well, the thing is that this entire stream will be available for everyone else later on. The patrons only get to see it live.
So they get to participate in the chat easily.
You'll be able to watch this video back again later and cringe going, oh, wow.
Yeah.
So how many arm units was that cut? Sorry.
I had a booger hanging from my nose the whole time.
Oh, no. Not again. Wait, I wasn't wearing pants.
I'm good.
Yeah, no, you're not.
Well, I am Scottish. It could have been a kilt.
Oh, there you go.
It is a Zoom meeting, and it is 2022. You could totally...
Yep.
Don't judge.
You could totally wear a Fraggle mask.
You totally could, and go grocery shopping, and nobody's going to think anything worse or better of you.
No.
Seeing,
At least they might give you your space.
Ooh, I never thought of that.
So Bernie Davis has got a question for you, Ben.
Yeah.
How many ghost traps were actually made, and do you know how many were bought from Spirit?
So all the ones that you see that are not in the field are made, right? So with them, oh man, you got to remember too is that like Normally, you have 8 months to keep a secret for a movie before it comes out. This one we had a couple of years, so I've forgotten an awful lot.
Right.
But there were 1, 2, 3 open-close servo traps. There was 2 that would snap open. There was 2 that would snap close.
Interesting.
Then
So
there
the
was
same
just
trap wouldn't do both.
The rubber analog.
Well, it needs to do this really well or this really well.
yeah.
It doesn't have to do both really well.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Sorry, rubber analog. You're saying?
No, and then the spirit traps. I recall there was 90 in the field, so they would have ordered probably 120 of them to make sure that, no matter what, you've got replacements for everything.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay. It's actually less than I would have thought.
Yeah, I seem to recall it was 90 in the field. That's a number that's sticking in my head. I know it was insane because you do the sequence and all the dirt and everything gets flopped over and they're like reset. And it was like a hive of ants going and closing traps and burying it and making it look like it did before, and then run out.
Yeah.
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 We only had one production that was kind of like that with a ghost that was trying to communicate with the characters by throwing potato chips around.
It's like Chippy.
Yeah.
Chips.
Yeah, Chippy the Chips. And so we do it, and then it's like, okay, we need to reset, so we do this again. It's like, what? They just tornadoed this place.
Wow.
Yeah.
And one of my resets was 8 hours for a reset on one of the Star Trek things where the Wasp ship comes flying through the hallway. I designed up the whole carriage and everything, and it would blast through and destroy the set. So we literally have to rebuild the entire set over time. And we did it the first shot, and then the director's like, yeah, we're probably going to have to do it again. And everybody's just like, oh.
No. We're not going home tonight.
Yep.
No, we got about halfway. It was about to finish, and then he looked at it and realized that he could edit what he needed out of it. And he's like, okay, stop work, go home.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Are there any other fun stories about working on Star Trek? If that's something I can
bowling at a crew party with Simon Pegg, that's definitely a highlight. He's every ounce the nerd you'd expect him to be, so it makes it so much better. I'm just trying to think. It's
right now.
Honestly,
this is even further back memories than just the last movie you worked on.
Yeah, well, that goes back to 2015. I think we were shooting that.
Sounds
like
right. Yeah,
Oh, dang.
somewhere in there.
Yeah.
I remember kind of roughly when it came out.
Yeah, so I think it was 2016. So, but yeah, that's where I kind of really got into movies. Like, the way I ended up getting into movies is like I worked as my own sort of a freelance engineer, and for like just about 20 years. And a friend of mine at the Makerspace, again, comes back to Makerspaces. A friend of mine at a Makerspace was working on The Revenant that was being filmed here. And she said her boss was looking for a designer that could handle doing some really big stuff, had to be super vague about it, and said, do you mind if I give him your number? And I said, sure, and ended up getting on the phone with him. And he asked, this was such a cool interview. He's like, asked me for a resume. So I said, well, I haven't done one in years, but you can find my stuff online. And then, he went and asked me a few questions. And before the end of the conversation, he's like, I'm flying you out and you can start, next week. And I'm like, but what about my other clients? He's like, I'll pay him off. I need you. Come on out. And then when I landed, I found out from his assistant I was working on Star Trek. And again, it was one of those where they're like, Ben, hello.
Right. Now, did you work on the gimbaled set, the bridge as well, or was it just the Wasp?
Yeah, the two rotating sets are my design. The motor mounts themselves were designed by another guy. This was where, here's another thing. This is a movie set, so I spec out what we need for a motor to rotate these sets, and I find out that I'm thinking we're probably gonna be able to buy something for $50,000. No, these are $250,000 motors. The only way we can rotate this thing. So I go to my boss, and I'm just like, we're probably going to have to cancel this gag. It's not going to work. These are $250,000. And he's like, that's awesome. He's like, buy two. I was like, what?
I love
That's
those
it?
budgets.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's just weird things like that happen. You just, you look back. Yeah, I guess there's the story that it just makes you go, really? Yeah.
Right. Because the entire bridge set would tilt, right? Or gimbal or whatever.
Tilt. It could do a full 360.
You do a full 360.
I
Wow.
don't think you could do that movie
100 feet
without
long,
an
30-foot diameter tubes that I designed up that we put the Enterprise hallways into, and we could rotate them. And then I've been known in most of the engineering fields, you give me a spec, I hit it.
Okay.
Not all engineering people do that. So they said they wanted it to rotate at so many revolutions. They were doing RPMs, but they didn't do the calculations and figured out that this thing would move faster than gravity. So I still hit it. But when we put the stunties in it and we did a full blast thing, the guys on one outside were compressed down into the floor because they were suddenly twice as heavy. And the other guys hit the ceiling and they were like, don't ever do that again.
So it's like those rides at the fair where you get stuck to the walls.
They didn't run a test with something else first? Right.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Kinda.
And then, and as soon as we finished, partway through finishing the first one, I was told that, like, okay, this is going well. It looks like we're going this, and it's great. And so we need you to make a bigger one. So we ended up doing the engine compartment, which was 2 stories tall. That was about 45 feet in diameter. We ended up having to go to a shipyard and use one of their hangars because it was too tall to fit in any stadium or in any of the studios.
Okay.
And making giant, amusement park rides and trying not to kill people for a living is kind of fun.
Yeah, I bet. I'm just surprised they threw the stunt people in and just turned it on and went for it. They didn't
Not a buster first.
Yeah, not a buster first.
No, there is so much testing, so very much testing. Like, each time you put in something, it's like if you're wiring up something, you add a new resistor, turn it on. Did it work? Yes, cool. Then you're minimizing what can go right and what can go wrong. And there's don't get me wrong, it happened in a stupid amount of time, but it's done as safe as you possibly can do it, right?
Right.
Yeah, these are amusement park rides.
Real life, I've got some stunt drivers that I've worked with on a regular basis that I've designed up car cannons that will take a Humvee. Well, I iterated a cannon that some other people have worked on where it'll take a Humvee and flip it completely over. And so one day I'll have to show you some clips and stuff from
yes, please.
The last Predator that just came out, or it's already been out. I worked on that, and there was a whole bunch of things that hit the cutting room floor, including these car cannons and stuff like that. And having these stunt people look at what I've built and go, "Yeah, I'll ride that."
Okay. Right, I forget. Stunt guys are adrenaline junkies.
The stunts rolling, they take the shot, and until I hear over the radio everything's clear, everybody's good, and you finally go because, I'm knock on wood, I haven't hurt anybody, but the very real possibility of this stuff can happen, right? So.
Yeah, and you don't want that on your conscience.
No.
That's why I really like Ghostbusters and stuff where these props, it's like, the worst that can happen is somebody would lose a finger, which would be really bad, but nothing near as bad as what some of these stuff I do.
Falling out of the giant spinning tube.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's a dryer, my size dryer.
Not getting locked in a weird position. Wasn't it The Shining where they're trying to get the blood elevator to work right, and something went wrong, and so the director and the director of photography were upside down, being flooded and almost drowned in the blood, or something like that?
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds awful.
Right?
For the art.
There's so many things. And this is one thing where you go on some sets and there'll be some guy that comes up and people ask dumb questions. Yes, it does happen. But
really?
You have to stop and you have to listen, because if they say something that has the potential to make things safer or work better, just for the 5 minutes it takes to stop and listen to them, address it, and it also helps you reset and get somebody else's viewpoint. You might pick something else up, but you have to stop and listen. You have to. If you don't, you're a jerk.
Yeah.
End of story.
Yeah. The other viewpoint, I've ran into that more than once, where it's like, oh yeah, that would be a problem, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Because
exactly.
I'm not the only one carrying this. Yeah.
Yeah. No, there's a lot of times where I have something in my head of how I want to build it, and then I talk to somebody and they have a completely different version, and I'm like, but why? Oh wait, that makes sense. Okay. I still want to do it my way, but I get it. Why you do it that way? Yeah.
You and I have had that exact conversation.
Every day.
Well, and it's usually something like, why did you spend 5 minutes doing that when you can hit the delete button? And you're like, what?
Right. I have another.
And then you think back on how much your life has been wasted.
Right. But. If I could, I got another question from someone in the comments. Ninja Des is asking, what's the most complex thing you've made or thought of making? I'm sure this isn't a question for me.
I feel like the things could go on and
Complex
on.
thing I have ever made.
Right. It becomes, well, yeah, the word ever isn't actually in it, but, it's not a bad thing. What's the most complex thing you've made? If you need to, let's frame it in the context of Ghostbusters Afterlife, because that might make it a little easier.
It's less about. See, everything's complex.
Yeah.
I'm going to deviate a little bit from the thing. Like everything can be complex in its own way. When you're receiving props, like I didn't build a lot of the props. I helped modify a lot of the props or make them work the way they wanted to. But the bones were always handed to me as built from the prop shops. But I want people to understand one thing too, is if I sit there and go, I didn't like the lighting system or the lights didn't spool up the way we wanted. This isn't a knock at the prop shops or anything, because so many things can get lost in lines of communication. And besides that is, if I built it, would have I built it different? Yes. Would it have operated it the way I had in my head first off? Yes. But all I would have done is built in different problems to try and solve. I wouldn't have made it any better or any worse. I would have made it different, right? So all I would have done is implemented my version of screw-ups. Mm-hmm. So complexity, if you're looking at super complex stuff, is coming in and being able to rewire something, using Arduino is great, but the Baconic system, that came out just as they were wrapping the Ghostbusters show. And there was a few LED issues that we were having that I realized I could solve in 2 minutes. So I was going in and swapping out boards, resoldering stuff, and making all these problems go away. And they could say, like, let's make this do a different color. And suddenly everybody's like, oh my God, it really wasn't an issue. One of the most technologically advanced things is, I'm trying to think of what it's called, but the lighting guys use a system with these little boxes. And I figured out how to implement, like we needed to, I'm fragmented in sentences.
This is a fragmented thing. It's all good.
In the temple, and the cannons are pointing down. There's a special PKE meter that moves, and that PKE meter needed to move at a certain light sequence. And to time that right when you're not on set can be very difficult. I made it so that it was all programmed in there. All you had to do was hit a switch and it would open up. So to make sure that would happen on time is that we hooked it into the lighting guy system. So the lighting guy, it would move slightly slower. So he had a 2 millisecond delay on all his lights. So he would light everything up, but the PKE would be lit. It would start to move. Then his lights would come in perfect timing every time. And this was one of those, instead of being afraid of the other department, I went, okay, who's turning on the lights and how do we time it? So I went to it was Benoit. I said, hey, how do we do this?
I know that guy.
And he's
Sorry.
And he's like, this is, can we hook it up to this one system? What's it do? And he goes, well, I can, get a power cord to power up. And I'm like, okay, cool. Can we make that power cord power up? And can you delay all your lights a few seconds while my machine powers itself up, going from AC to DC to the signal? And he's like, totally. And we did that in a couple minutes, and we did these shots, and it was seamless, and nobody fought. And it was just because you reached out to somebody else in another department that you all playing the same game, you're on the same team, try to work with each other.
Oh yeah, I love the lighting guys.
Yeah. That's... Yeah. No, it's just thinking about all sorts of things in the past. That's an amazing story. That totally makes sense.
Yeah.
And lighting guys, understandably, don't trust prop guys because we'll put LEDs or something in something and it'll flicker. And because it's a light, they'll get blamed for it. So they're gun shy. And they can't trust the new guy named Ben that's on set. And yeah, he might have a name, but who cares? I don't trust you. I know it works.
Yeah.
So...
for me, it was always a sound
a lighting
guy.
system that'll work is not going to help. You have to go improve it, and you got to earn that trust. And you don't always have that time on set, and it can be so frustrating. Going, look, I know how to solve this, and I know you're not going to listen, but can we talk for 2 minutes just to show you so that because I've had I've had remote controlled vehicles on a different show where the lighting needed to be proper. And they ended up putting their lighting system in, but they tapped off of the batteries the wrong way, which meant that with these live polys, they would get drained and get destroyed every time. And it was costing me a whole bunch of money, but they were insistent on doing stuff. And at the end, I said, these are the lights I wanted to use. Why couldn't we use it? And they're like, oh, that would have been fine. And you're like, no.
Communication. Yes. Yeah, no, the lighting guys, they're like my favorite people because they make everything just come alive. Like
Right.
when I build a whole set, I have a vision. And then it comes to life once the lighting people are
And
there.
they've got the perfect color to snap on set to make everybody look like a zombie and want to get out of there because you can see all the blue veins and everything
Right.
come out of your face and you're like, ugh.
Right, yes. If they don't like you, they can make you look terrible like that. But yeah, no. I started out in lighting. I've been in
Okay.
all sorts of different, like, I don't do just one thing, which is weird to people. So I've been in all sorts of.
So
Is
it's
that
a
weird?
good thing I didn't say letting people suck. Gotcha.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I get that.
You know what? It's no
But-
every.
But when
every
everybody
department
works
has-
well together, like,
Yeah.
like I said, I go to the grips and I steal their Sharpies and gaff tape all the time, like we buddies.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 The props, the costumes, the wardrobe, the sets. It's all like, where do you draw the lines? I don't know. It depends on the project and who knows what.
Right.
Would I
The goal should be
randomly
get the
go into a
project
group
done.
of these guys and just go like, who has some snot tape and see how many, like count like what percentage goes here?
Right? Or those little things that blow off the dust.
Right.
Those are the camera guys. They always have the things that get the dust away.
So as soon as you said
Especially now,
snot
you
tape,
can't-
her
you can't
arm
go
went up.
anymore. So
Yeah.
Right, you can't. That's gotta be an interesting thing. I'm enjoying. So I'm watching the show Peacemaker, and I've noticed that in the end credits they're actually giving credit to the COVID officers. So this is So yeah,
Takes a
the fact that you
it's
can't.
a special person to like. How do you politely go to the guy, for the 40th time, going pull the mask up over your nose? Like
Right.
and there, I'd be lying to say like there's times where they come up and they're like, come on, spread apart, and you're like, I'm just trying to say something, but you can't be mad at them,
Right.
No, they
they're
keep you
doing their
safe.
job, and you're just like, man, it's a thankless thing.
Yeah.
And I so very much appreciate them.
When you
Yeah.
do your job well, nobody notices or cares. If you're not there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
No, on Fraggle Rock, we had a COVID guy there, and he was. You'd walk in, and every morning he'd have something happy to say. It was awesome to have him around. He was just one of these really good, amicable people, and
That's awesome.
it's a great way to start your day because first person you see every time now on set is the COVID people, right?
Right.
Oh, good. At least
First-
they're happy as opposed to it's like the grumpy person every day and you're like,
Oh,
"Jeez,
not all of them."
Louise." Oh,
Right.
Some of them hate their lives.
okay. Because I'm like, I can see that going very terrible.
I have noticed that the first person to show up whenever there's a shoot going on here, because I'm actually in a facility that does productions. The COVID officer is the first one to show up. I mean, I'm usually here because I'm a resident, right? But
Right.
yeah.
Oh, you live there.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. Well,
I have stolen his bed for sets.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. My bed has been in a couple of music videos. My futon.
Yep.
Yep.
I painted it.
I do
I've slept
go
in my
home,
car-
but
I've
sometimes
slept in my car in the parking lot of a studio more than once.
yes,
He
There's
helped me.
times where you got to go. You know what? I'm not driving home. It's not safe.
exactly. How many times did Michael Dorn go to sleep wearing the wharf makeup because it would take less time to just touch it up in the morning?
Really, I had no idea.
Oh yeah,
That would-
they especially made him a sleeping cap, so he could go home with his cap on and go to sleep, and then wake up. And they just touch up his makeup in the morning because it was so much. You give him more time to sleep than to take it off and put it back on again. His wife hated it. She hated waking up next to a thing on.
I'm thinking, one thing I know that they would have drivers for them, and they'd be behind like tinted windows, so you'd never see them. But
Right.
what I imagine in my head is some guy in like a Honda Civic going down the highway with the sleeping cap on.
Right. Also, I'm picturing Hightower driving the little tiny car from Police Academy. Yeah.
I imagine him in a robe with his coffee and buddy slippers
Right.
to work.
Yep.
Good morning.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Oh yeah.
Oh, we have
What?
mail today.
We do have mail today. I've got a couple things to open, but I did have one other question that was kind of cool.
Okay.
Where'd it go? Here it is. It's another one, Bertie Davis. If Sony makes a Ghostbusters Afterlife 2, and you get to be part of it, would you like to rebuild the ecto containment unit and have it be like the one from the '86 cartoon?
Hell yeah.
How much of cartoon details worked in? I mean, I don't know them well enough to pick them out.
You know,
Or did they?
I'll be honest. I I don't know either. I love
Right.
the idea. The premise of it is fun, and you know that's part of what these they might be horror / comedy / rom. I don't know exactly how to describe it, but I'm always into the unique ideas. You know, recently I was looking at something, and somebody please, I just steal the idea. I just want to see this happen. Is that I saw somebody, like, you put on the face makeup so that you look like a comic book, so you have the very stark lines on the face, is to make puppets that have that look, and do a puppet show where you have that sort of scanner darkly look, but not, it's all done in camera, not digitally.
So the practical over in post. I get it.
Yeah. Do something that everybody else would do in post practically.
That is like a lot of my job.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's like, ooh, is that one going to be in post, or am I going to do it tangibly? But geez.
Well,
yeah.
it's like looking at the volume in The Mandalorian. I just love the idea that, like, what you see is what you get. Oh my God, it's so cool. That's another show I would love to work on.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So similar thing, not quite. So here I am talking to somebody who's actually worked on movies that I'm building stuff to emulate, right? The last video, I made a Pike mask. One of the comments that popped up a couple of days later was one of the actors that wore the Pike mask in the video. I mean, in The Mandalorian.
So somebody with first-hand knowledge of the prop.
Of the prop. And he's saying, oh yeah, you nailed the sight problems, because when Sean and I were playing with it, you put your arms out, this is about as low down as you could see. It's straight ahead, and that's it.
And remember, we were talking about this earlier with the chainmail and patterning a shirt.
Yeah.
You know, you look at the way things were done, and people go like, "Why was it done that way?" Until you build it, and as soon as you build it, you're like, "Oh, that is why."
That's why.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, he was saying the first take coming down off the ramp at the very end of the episode, the whole bunch of the Pike aliens coming down. They didn't rehearse it really very well, because you're walking down a ramp. Yeah, a bunch of them fell because they couldn't see.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Many a times a mascot head is just limited vision, limited movement, and you don't know till you know, and it's like, well, why can't you do that?
Well, and like Fraggles, the Gorgs, and Junior fell over a few times on set because of the same thing. You got a giant costume, a head, and it takes a pebble or a bump this big to set them off. And you can't fight several hundred pounds of costume. Well, a lot of costume. How about that?
Yeah.
You're right.
Funny
a lot
story
of
is chainmail. My friend Lyle was one of his favorite costumes to do for parties was just a chainmail night. He'd do the full-on chainmail shirt with a tabard over the top of it, and then the helmet. And he went to this party that was an Alice in Wonderland party, and you had to go through the rabbit hole to get into the party. So full-on chainmail, you have to bend over to get into the party.
To get back up.
He fell flat on his face because he wasn't expecting the weight of the chainmail all to fall forward.
Right.
And his weight shifted way too fast, and he, head wounds bleed. It might be the tiniest little cut.
Yes.
But they bleed. And so as soon as he gets into the party, he has a head wound, and he's ready to party. And people are like, are you okay? And so I think about that.
It's just a flesh wound.
It's just a flesh wound.
Just a flesh wound is what he was saying the whole party. Just a flesh wound. And he had a great time, and it was hilarious. But anytime people would rent chainmail, I'm like, be careful about taking it on and off, and if you have to bend to get into a doorway, because that is a thing.
So history says, that one useless belt that goes around the thigh, it takes some of the weight of the chainmail off, but it also avoids that from happening when you bend over in battle.
Yep, practical.
All right.
It wasn't just a fashion statement. Nope.
No. You don't want to tip forward too much.
Yeah.
I didn't know that about that useless belt.
It has its purpose.
Oh, for sure. No, it's hard sometimes to figure out is that a fashion statement or is it functional?
Yeah,
Not
why?
always that hard to figure out, but
Right. I'm sure with a lot of the medieval, it's functional.
Well, and then you get those pointy hats that they had people holding with the stick, so they could get taller and taller.
Oh, right. Okay.
Is that the most practical of headwear? No, but it's fun and pointy.
yeah.
I'm just imagining them.
You're making a point here.
Yeah.
I'm a dad. I'm using every ounce of that right.
Please do. It is all good.
No, but you look at these medieval photos. This is not photos,
No.
pictures that
Yes.
people hand drew
Medieval
of
photos.
like, what's this color crayon drawing we're copying here? Is this real? Is this practical? Or is this what they thought? Like, what is the circle coif thing going
Right.
on? Did it really go in a circle? No, it didn't. But you know.
Right, but it was supposed to, so that's what it was
Well,
drawn.
the thing is sometimes they don't know, and this is one thing I found out recently I thought was really interesting. When I first got out of high school, I thought I wanted to get into archaeology, and I did a little bit of studies towards it, but nothing too serious.
Going back to Indiana Jones.
Right? That's why I wanted to do archaeology.
This is what I thought was interesting, is everybody thinks everybody was petite and small back in the day, and they weren't. The only reason why you see that is that very large clothing and very small clothing comes out because it was used so little that it never wore down, and you can archive it. Everything else was worn to the point where it fell off of you, so it doesn't exist. So the actual sizing of people you don't see because there is no history of it because it got used.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also with vintage clothing too, that's kind of the same thing, that you don't see the two extremes. It's because it got used. But also you have to think about, like, fashion is the fun stuff the teenagers are wearing. The crazy fun stuff.
Yeah.
And so it's in those smaller young adult teenager sizes, and then they grow out and they're into something else. And
Okay.
so all the fun, crazy 70s clothes, it looks like it was all tiny. No, it wasn't all tiny.
Yeah.
It's just that's what's easier to find because it survived.
Yeah.
Okay.
Survival
there
bias.
are more practical solutions that people were smaller in stature as far as height goes, but they weren't smaller in stature as far as width and muscles and everything go. Because you can see tables were shorter because people were shorter.
Yeah.
But they weren't smaller per se. They were just shorter.
Yeah. I feel like it's survival bias, like when they had the planes that came back with the bullet holes. Oh, we need to reinforce these places, but
Oh god,
No.
I love nerding out like that.
yeah, no, I feel like medieval costumes, it's like what actually survives is not the stuff that people would have worn. It's the stuff they would have stuck in a box.
Yeah.
Because it's so precious that we can't let people look at this.
Right.
So that's what will survive, the pretty nice, fine things you don't wear every day. For sure.
Well, it's like the harness for a very popular helm out there, a kettle helm, like the flat top Templar helms.
Okay.
There's none that survive with the harness in it. They don't know exactly how it was strapped to your head, so they're not sure if it could be worn on a horse because maybe it would flip forward because the harness wasn't in there properly.
Yeah.
And like they can postulate, but they don't know.
Yeah, because the leather would have rotted away way before you could have even, yeah, no, makes a lot of sense. Like, how did this work? You think when you start to make things like really happen and not just in post, like nice costumes and armor, and you go, really, who would have these crazy giant pauldrons? They make no sense. But then the real stuff, you're like, oh, that's so flexible. I could see why they did all of that.
Yeah. Well, and different metals and like, knowing how much armor actually weighs, it looks super heavy and it is heavy, but it's surprisingly
on your
nowhere
shoulders.
near what you think when you put it on. It actually is like you can move and it's a lot lighter.
That belt,
I
putting
got-
the weight on your hips helps a
Right.
lot.
Distributing the weight. Yeah.
I got to see Adam's Iron Man titanium suit.
Oh
that
my.
thing weighs 12 pounds. I think it's 12 pounds. And
That's-
it takes a 45 caliber weapon at point blank and it weighs nothing.
That's exactly what I'm
12
thinking.
pounds. I'm like, that's nothing. Like,
It's so
I own
crazy.
dresses that weigh more than that.
No, okay, I could be wrong. It's either 12 or 25. Let's
But
even
still,
say
even
25.
25, that's a
right.
cat.
Yeah. That's not a big. How much of a complete set does he have, or do you know? Because I know there's a helmet and a chest piece. Is there
No,
more?
he has a full outfit.
Is it
doesn't
full?
he? Yeah.
Yeah, there was the abs I think needed to be made out of like they were not actually made.
Okay.
I can't remember the reason for it, but there was a couple pieces, the joints and stuff that just didn't make sense that weren't made. But for the most part, it is a full set.
Okay.
Yeah. Because it's there in reality, but in physically, you really shouldn't. Like, you don't need that covered,
Right.
Because you don't have all those extra jointing and plates that the CGI does.
Right. You have the nanites to.
I'm just imagining that one arm, Bucky's
And there's
arm.
nothing worse than a pinch in the armpit. Oh my god.
Yeah, armor fleas are horrible. Yeah.
Armor fleas, that's what they call them. Or the
Yeah.
bites. That's, yeah.
I have not had an armor flea in the armpit. It's only been like in here or yeah. Because it's too hot. I don't want to wear the sleeves. Yeah, full.
Well, cotton will help keep you cooler in general underneath. I know it's an extra layer, but if you wear a cotton t-shirt underneath, you're going to be so much more comfortable.
So once I'm wearing the Mechagodzilla suit, and of course, same thing. It's like, oh, I'm going to wear a short sleeve, and I'm going to wear shorts under it because I'm wearing this full costume that's made out of nothing but insulation material. You pointed out something that made a total sense as far as a comparison for why you wear long sleeves and long underwear under a mascot costume.
Socks and shoes, people. Socks and shoes.
The difference between wearing
It's wearing shoes without your socks. It just gets stinky, sweaty, itchy. Like it's
gross.
Yeah.
Swamp.
Totally.
Yes. Why I'm not a big fan of polyester in general.
Right. Well, neither am I. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
But Polypro can be so handy. It wicks so fast.
Oh, yeah.
You can remain dry in that so good.
Oh, yes, definitely. Okay. Definitely. Like,
yeah.
There's so many technologies that we don't have to be stinky anymore. It's nice.
Well, and the thing is that, say even 10 years ago, a cool suit would cost you so much money.
Right.
And now, a couple of fish pumps, a cooling bucket, and, you can make this stuff so easy if you just cobble stuff together. Like, I love the world we're in where things that seem so impossible 10 years ago, so easy to do now.
Oh, yeah.
That's actually something I wouldn't mind doing because for both Mechagodzilla and for the Gundam, there's the heat issue of.
Yeah. On Smosh, sometimes I would sneak vests that had ice packs.
Yeah.
Ice pack vests in costumes just because I'm like, this one's going to be hot. It's going to be a while. We're not taking it on and off here.
Right.
Yeah.
It's nice pick for now. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and there's even hot suits. Like a friend of mine made the hot suit for the heat suit for the Revenant. Who's the main actor? Oh my goodness.
Leo?
Leo, yeah. So, do you want to dip your actor in an ice cold river, or do you want to offer him a
yes. Fleece line knits are the best for having really narrow but warm clothing. You want that stretchy look, but you don't want to. But it's cold. Fleece line knits are your thing.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Typically, I don't know how interested you are in this because it's a little off topic and it's not talking a whole lot about Ghostbusters or anything else, but there's about 1 o'clock on my show, normally I open up viewer mail. And I've actually got a piece here from one of my patrons. His name's Stupid Monkey, who is also from Canada. And do you have an interest? I have interest in what he sent. Hopefully you've got interest in seeing what he sent.
Open the box.
Open the box. What's in the box?
It could be a boat.
It could be a boat. But right across the front it says Joe is sus because every Friday we're playing Among Us. So
That's being filmed here.
What's that?
Among Us?
Among Us. It's being filmed here in Calgary.
So this is the first I've heard it's being filmed?
There's going to be Among Us.
Well, no, it's publicly known around here. But
okay.
Yeah,
that's exciting.
I'm really hoping that the union's not going to call me up going, you jerk.
I hope not, but...
We're just adding hype to the excitement. Marketing, I guess. That's exciting. Are there bones?
Awesome. Yeah, there's bones, so you can break these in half.
Yeah.
So they could be...
Oh, okay. So not this. Sorry, I'm thinking different show. Not Among Us.
Oh, okay.
Oh, jeez. Never mind. I wasn't thinking space.
Okay, I
The Last of Us. I am so sorry.
Oh, Last of Us. Right. That is being shot there. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. There's a video game just called Among Us. It's kind of like playing The Thing in space. Right.
Yeah.
Those are cool. Does he have the bone structure on the inside?
Yes.
I killed one of them. See?
Oh yeah, you did kill one of them.
That's us.
So they just pop right apart and
they have the little bone.
And Stupid Monkey sent the colors that we play. Like I'm always playing the orange guy, and Joe's always playing the black guy.
We're looking at him and they can't see.
Yeah, I know. But I'm showing for him.
Okay. I was like, none of the people viewing can see.
So this is, a little bit so now we get to relive this for the people viewing. But yeah, it's just these. Thank you, Stupid Monkey.
You remind me of little Easter eggs. Right there. Among Us guys. I like the orange and the black. Was that the color we ended up with for the giant Among Us?
Orange is the one that we made because that's what I wanted, but then I think
the fabric didn't.
the one we got working for Joe was blue.
the one that worked the best was the blue fabric.
Right.
Because it held the air the best.
Because it held the air. Because at that time when I was making it, I didn't understand that with the ripstop nylon, apparently if you throw it in the dryer, it'll fuse the fibers and it'll actually hold air better for making an inflatable costume.
Yeah.
So I was only using what came off the bolt, not knowing that the material would change, and I could only use the ones that worked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why you got to pre-wash your fabric, people, even though you don't want to. I'm
Yeah.
guilty.
So do you play Last of Us during Festivus? For the rest of us?
For the rest of us, I'll be honest. I have actually never actually played Last of Us, but I have watched it played. My first got on the PS3, and my son was playing it, and I sat down and watched it with him because I was seeing all the trailers and very excited about the game when it was coming out.
Right.
But of course, he kept playing when I couldn't watch, so he got way ahead. And I found a YouTube channel that did a playthrough, and he kept his mouth shut while playing it. So you just watched the game. It wasn't him talking about the game. And I watched all 44 hours, including DLC, of the entire game. So I've seen the entire first game, but I haven't played it. And then there's a friend here, and she's played the second one 2 or 3 times, and I've watched her play some of it, but I haven't seen the whole thing.
You know, suddenly I realized, like, I've worked on a couple of shows that were games, but I'm not a gamer, so sometimes I feel like I'm missing something. I never thought to just watch a playthrough, because that I can do.
Oh, it's
I
great.
get so frustrated that I can't get control and you lose, and I'm just like, it's not fun for me. It's just the way I'm wired, but I could totally watch somebody do it.
I relate to that. I had brothers who would get frustrated when I was like, it's not doing what I want it to do. All right, give me that. You can watch.
Yep. That's my kids. Dad?
Yep. Yeah, I actually watch a lot anymore, especially when I'm trying to make a prop from a video game. You know, I'll go find somebody doing a playthrough so I can actually just see what it looks like, and it can actually, pause and be able to look at it as, So I've seen a lot of like God of War, but I've never played it. I think I bought it. So that's one step more than Last of Us. I bought a used copy of God of War. I think I gave it to Ashley as well because I never played it. It's like, here.
Have fun.
Yeah.
So, like, here's a question: is there any decent 3D print files that come directly from the people who made the video games? Because I've been slowly trying to convince people at Sony and whatnot that maybe you should try releasing some of the 3D print files as official files.
Yeah, that
Because
would be a brilliant
I think
idea.
the market is big enough that with
it
the
is.
right licensing agreement, you could make a fair amount of money just selling the STL files. And
Especially
I always
since they
wondered,
like
the
taking those
files are
down.
already made, especially in a video game.
Right.
Why they're letting people kind of eat their lunch and go onto all these Thingiverse sites and stuff and put it out there,
Right.
versus just putting it out there as an official. I look at it as
Especially-
sort of like a Napster time, where instead of the music industry's not waking up to what's going on, people just do it. Well, I think that's sort of the same with the props. It's obviously a much smaller industry, but I think could be just as profitable. So
Yeah, I definitely think there's something there because pattern.
Yeah, because also something's there. There's a lot of STLs and files that I've purchased that I've never printed, and as I sit back and look at them, it's like I'm never going to print these, but I bought them.
You have them for when you need them.
Right.
Yeah.
it's like the vast array of books that I have that I'll probably never read.
Never read. Right. But you like having the books. I do. I love the look of a library. So I've got lots of books.
And the smell.
Oh yeah.
I love just going to. I've gone to bookstores just to have a coffee and smell the books.
Yeah. I love. There's a couple of used bookstores here in town.
Yeah.
Oh, that smell. Yep.
Yeah.
I like it when you're in an old street of the downtown and it's the one bookstore.
Right.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
It's got hints of the old smoking days, and you still got the old books and
Or the damp book section.
Right. The weird, slightly damp book smell. Right. That's not bad, but all right. Yeah.
You might have a
where I
leak
live,
over
it's
there.
incredibly dry, so I'm lucky that we don't generally have dampness issues in Calgary. So
Oh, that's good.
yeah.
Meanwhile, the building I'm in is is an older building, right? It used to be a warehouse where the train would actually pull up behind it and you'd offload it. The spur is gone. So the building's been here for 60 years, 70 years.
Right.
The only leak in the building is in my shop, directly over the main electrical panel for the building. So every time it rains, I come in and I've got a 5-gallon bucket underneath the main electrical panel to catch the water that's leaking in from the inlet.
Yeah.
It's like we've dumped gallons of silicone and retard and everything else on the top, and wherever it's seeping from isn't anywhere that's obvious.
Well, it's like the rebuilding this RTV on my videos and stuff.
Yeah.
We had a couple of things break. And this has been a couple of years. I had the original guy who drove them, all the stunt stuff. We hired a stunt driver. He just wasn't available the day that I drove it and obviously broke it.
Oh, right.
But, we found a couple of problems that we saw before, and I fixed them with some reinforcing plates. But I realize now that, like, as soon as I put this in, I'm like, all this is going to do is identify some more problems further along down the road that I wasn't aware of once I fixed this problem. So it's like, am I doing myself a favor, or am I screwing myself by trying to fix this?
Probably depends on the longevity of the project. In the case of a roof, it needs to not leak. For the RTV, well, if you get the shot, you're probably good.
But if it's leaking somewhere safe where it goes into plastic and not wood, then maybe work with that. Because if you reroute it, you're going to root it into some wood that's going to rot away on you.
Right.
Yeah, practicals. It's going to be bad, as long as it's not that bad.
But we could also take the movie point of view, and it's a water feature.
Exactly.
Write it into the script, man.
It's texture.
It helps. Yeah, it's atmosphere.
That sparking is to effects, lighting effects.
You've got that burbling water sound in the background. It's so beautiful.
I'm sure you'll cover it in your video, so I don't know how much you want to say beforehand, but with the time difference between working on the RTV for the production and then redoing it for YouTube, was it hard to find replacement parts, or was it just, I'm going to go make a new one, or was there something real obvious that I can do now but I couldn't do then? Does that make sense?
Yeah, there's a lot of that happens, and the videos I'm making for Sony and stuff are pretty generic. I'm going to be going into more detail afterwards once I get some comments on the video. I can find out what people actually want to know, because I know what I want to tell everybody. But what I want to learn isn't what my audience necessarily wants to learn. So I need to figure that out.
Right.
But that all being said, the way some of the mounts were made for the shocks wasn't the best, so I reinforced them. But at the same time, this is a screen-used prop, so I'm being very careful to keep the provenance there and trying to keep it as original as possible, but also functional. So there's changes I want to make that I didn't. Like the stunt traps did not have the light bar in the front. It didn't work because it didn't make sense. It was always during daylight. The scenes wouldn't be on. It was going so fast nobody would ever see it. But I wanted it there, so I put that in. Right?
Okay.
The flashlights on the front, those, luckily, in a weird way, a lot of people think they were purchased. They weren't. The guts were purchased, but the lights were 3D printed models. And I may or may not have acquired those files to print from production. Maybe.
You may or may not know somebody.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, now that studios are putting out STL files for fans to be able to download.
Well, I'm trying very hard to convince Sony to let's do a little trial of something from Ghostbusters and see if there is something there. And I released a little Stay Puft snowman mold recently that you can make like a little snowball guy, and you can make like an army of Stay Puft guys.
Okay.
Just to see. I wanted some, and I probably shouldn't because this is really in that gray NDA area, but I called it the Snow Puft. Copyright pending. I'm kidding. But,
I want to say I've seen those on social media.
Yeah, so the idea is like just put them out there, but I wanted some metrics. I want to be able to go like, I put this out just on a whim. This is how many are being downloaded, and this is your potential clientele. But anyway, back to the flashlights thing. So I printed those out, and the rest of it, because it's all based off of a ghost trap, there really never was commercially made ghost traps. So to my advantage is I get to build it. And I built it. It was a foam rubber stunt. Even the top piece and the front area was foam rubber, but that was the very front was completely obliterated, gone, like dust, gone. So I got to rebuild it, and I used EVA foam. In fact, I used the What the Foam on the front because I'm on a different channel. I can say that. And yeah, so I got to put in some improvements as far as how it all works, and because of that, it's fun. But again, like I said, I wanted to keep it as original as possible because I want to respect that it's a screen used prop, and it's fun. I seriously, while I was building, I was thinking about all the toys I broke as a kid that I desperately wanted to fix that I didn't have the talent to, and now I had the talent and I had the tools.
You have no excuses, though.
Yeah.
Wow, is it?
Hopefully
Brain
that
fail.
answered your question. I realized I went all over the map on that one.
No, that was great. Totally did. I was just kind of curious about making it work, and you made it work.
Yeah.
Yeah. It drives and does everything now. Not without some sweat, because the first scene you'll see of me rebuilding it on my channel in a couple of weeks is me dumping out the box of parts, and I look at that scene and I'm like, there's no way.
Right, but you had the passion because this is the thing, and you.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Do we want to share the URL again really quick it's been a little bit.
Let's see.
I can imagine dumping out all those parts on the table and be like, all right, now put this puzzle together.
Well, I
Half the
knew
puzzle
exactly
pieces
how
are
it-
broken.
Yeah, I could definitely get it going. Here we go. Look at that.
Right. I don't know if you can just pop it into the chat or not, but no, hopefully.
I'll pop those into the chat here in just 2 seconds.
Well, that's fine. Oh, hey, Maker JP is actually, he's been here for a little bit. Maker J, speaking of STLs, he sent us a 3D sculpt that he had made to print out of The Witcher, because he's an artist that is working on the Witcher television series.
Yeah.
And he's saying that, they should totally allow the models to be released as download for the fans, because he has a ton of them.
Yeah. He let us have one that he did as a...
It was a thank you. It was a bust of Henry in the Witcher outfit, because that was the time when we were working on it, using chainmail.
But he made it for the cast and production only. Like, it was only available for them, so we couldn't share it, but it was like, he has the files. They're there.
They're there. It was a thank you gift he had just done for everyone.
Yeah.
Well, it's like this. My favorite trap back here that has the removable panels.
Right.
The big thing with this is this was made as a crew gift for some of the cast. So people are like, "Oh, can I get that?" And I would love to, but I can't, because that's not, that wasn't the deal I made.
Right.
But of course, I wanted one for myself, so selfishly I made one.
Because you can. No, you keep sitting on a cradle back there. Is that just to keep it from rolling, or is that like a recharging base?
The idea is like the guy who did a lot of the art and everything for this to help me out with the whole project said that it needed a charging base. So this all lights up so that it has like a mesh, but then there's a green light underneath.
Okay.
The idea is that it's a charging base, but
But it's a prop
to kind of go with the theme and give you a place to store it. And
That's cool.
The added bonus is it doesn't roll anywhere. The new traps, here's number one, wheels are a lot bigger.
Yeah, they are.
So that changes. It rolls because of the mass and everything. It rolls pretty easy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So I put those 2 links up in the chat. I'm not sure if they're clickable for some reason, but it would make sense that some stranger coming in dumping links in your chat would be allowed.
It's funny. I'm not.
It has to go to space and then come back down.
Fair enough. Let's go to space and come back down.
Yeah. Or does it go under the ocean and then to Europe and back?
That's true. But it has to go to space first.
It goes to space because that's more fun. It isn't actually deep ocean's actually really, really fun.
I think it'd be harder to go through the ocean than it would be to do space.
It's further, but yeah.
There's more creatures.
So the 1s and 0s are clients of Elon. Gotcha.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. They're like, well, yeah, I'm just trying to think of who famous, but Elon hasn't sent anybody famous up. It's Bezos that did. So yeah.
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 Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
And I realized that I came here to talk Proton Pack and stuff. And
Right, and we have it at all, and
down on a whole bunch.
a whole bunch of stuff.
Lots of stuff.
Shady's pointed out, I don't see any foam cutting happening. It's like, well, no, because we got someone really cool to talk to.
Yeah, we have one more week of finishing up cutting up the foam. We have to make
I'll
our
explain
cut-up
why.
pieces.
I've got the knife here in Canada, and they've got the foam down there in California. So this is why.
That's why. Okay.
Yes, I don't see this box of knives
No,
at all.
there aren't 20 other knives in this room at all,
There's like 10 on the table. I can't hide them all.
including. Actually, I'm not seeing one immediately, but I know I've got a few here that are branded Cosplay Apprentice.
Oh, branded. But,
So, speaking of what the foam, but
yeah.
no, it'll happen.
We're getting through the project. There's a lot to build, and we got distracted because we have like somebody we could actually ask
Right.
genuine questions for, like.
and has stories that I'm genuinely interested in.
Yeah.
There's a question from Connor Cook here that I see that says, Ben said earlier there's a first Predator, it was practical, versus the newest Predator, it's digital. Now, I've worked on the last two Predators. One is not out yet. And I can tell you for sure that the Predator being digital, you know, every show has a certain amount of digital stuff, but they are about as practical as you could possibly imagine. Like I don't disagree with that because, like, so it's more like our practical heads and stuff.
So there's an actual. That was going to be my question. Is there an actual head then? And
so they're just correcting things that make it easier for the actor or the performer to be able to wear it, or removing safety pieces.
Or is it blinking in post? Like that's what. I
could be blinking, or maybe there was like an eye twitch or something you wanted that just couldn't be timed right, or there's a multitude of things.
Oh, okay.
Even a scene that would be impossible for somebody to do, that's where stuff like that happens. I haven't seen. Obviously, I worked on the last one. It's not out, and I haven't seen the shots or what they've done, but I know, the people that had to animate the head and everything, and oh my God, seeing some of that stuff live is just so cool. Oh my goodness. It's so tough sometimes to be on set and just not nerd the hell out, right?
Right?
Yes.
Especially when you're working on properties like Ghostbusters and Predator and Star Trek.
Yeah. Well, I honestly, I'll show up to set when nobody's there just to take it in so that I don't walk in and look like the tourist with the bug eyes, the camera going, oh.
Ben.
You have to appreciate it though also because when you are there, it's go, 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 go from the minute you start that project till it's finished. And then sometimes it's just like, wait, what happened?
Right. I didn't, there's no memories. I have no pictures. Yeah.
Like, it just happens so much.
Beyond too is like when I'm doing effects and stuff, I'm known as somebody who can destroy things in very big fashion. So it doesn't exist when I'm done.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. We have to start wrapping up because I have a hard out at 2. We're about 15 minutes of goodbye.
I was looking at that. Yes, we're gonna have to start doing a hard out of. Felicia's got a hard out at 2 anyway.
Yes, I have to be gone at 2.
Notoriously, my live streams take at least 15 to 20 minutes to say goodbye. We will run way over. Yeah. Not gonna do that to you because you've been a super sport, and I really appreciate that. When you first said you wanted to do this, you had about a 90-minute time that you could spend with us, and you're way past that already.
Well, yeah, but the life challenges that I thought would be there with children turned out to be a non-issue, so that it was just a win. Coincidence, so nothing to do about me being selfless and stuff. As much as I'd love to say yes, it was just.
But thank you for being here. We genuinely appreciate you.
Definitely thank you. And there is a certain amount of selfless that you did still stick around. I mean, you popped in early for the Patreon only portion of it. And here we are 2.5 hours later, and you're still here.
Yes.
And thank you.
You gotta remember, though, I'm just as much of a fan of you, right? So it goes both ways. This is one thing I really like is that this is one thing I found out, too, with Adams. There's a few things I've worked on that he didn't know who did it, but he really admired the work I've done, right? And you can have that mutual admiration, and it's awesome, you know?
Yes.
Yes.
And thank you, because what's weird for me, and I'm sure you feel the same way. So here I am talking to somebody who's working in the industry, who's working in movies I just recently saw and totally admire, telling him, and he's telling me that he's a fan of me, which is even just weird for me to say, because I'm just doing the stuff I used to do to entertain myself when I wasn't working. I decided to make videos about it.
And there was somebody who was asking me, how do you like your job and stuff? And I'm sorry, am I allowed one swear?
Oh,
Oh yeah, we've had a few already.
Hey, so who knew that fucking around as a kid could pay off so well in the future?
Right.
You know?
So freaking true.
So well, definitely. How many? Yes.
Yep.
Yep.
You know, like
All the
I
things
learned how to
built.
make like little explosive bombs when I was in high school, little tiny in the chem set and stuff.
Yeah.
And that, you know, when somebody says, "Hey, I need an effect to do this," it's like, I know how to do that. I got to go to the grocery store, and they're like, "What?"
Yeah.
Working on music videos with a local group called the Groovy Ghoulies, and we needed to do little blaster effects in this set that we'd built in this Burning Man costume I had left over. And yeah, putting I think cotton flash powder. It wasn't flash powder. It was a flash wad and flash paper
Okay.
with a rocket igniter, and then just taping that to my chest in order to get the blaster effect. Because it's
Definitely have that packed in there. You get the
Yeah.
wrong one, and it's gonna hurt.
what's nice is, well, it would burn because it's legitimately flame. The flash powder burns so bright that it looks much bigger on camera than it does on set.
Very true.
Yeah, and that really worked. I see the same thing with LEDs. Like I'll do something here, and I'm looking at it in the prop in my hand and going, well, it's on. That works. And I'll look in the camera and, oh, it's blowing the camera out. Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, in like TV effects versus real life, you know, I was in the infantry and stuff, and I've seen explosions where it looks like a little puff of dust. It goes, poof, and you know that did some nightmarish damage.
Right, because it's
if
not.
you don't see anything, that means that all that energy was put on exactly what it needed to be put on. So,
Right.
Yeah. Rain, wind, explosions. They're never as big as they are on TV.
No.
You
so the
have to
pretty
make it
explosions and stuff, you can generally write it off as fluff.
Right.
Doesn't mean they don't hurt, but
No. Just because it's colorful doesn't mean it's huge.
Right.
It means they had the right science.
well, it's like one of the best Ghostbuster lines is, was it science is the safety pin to the nipple of academia. I absolutely love that.
Okay.
I'm not sure where that originally came from, but it just...
I've never heard that. That's
Odin-
great.
They were
Odin,
professors
you,
in
my
college.
friend, are the safety pin through the nipple of cosplay.
I'm there for you guys. All right, on. Oh, that's awesome.
You know, this has been such a good time. My face hurts.
Right, okay, good.
Smiling too much.
Right? My cheeks are killing
Oh,
me.
are they gone yet? Bye.
It's always the long goodbye.
I was. You got caught up. So you and I talked a lot, especially early on with when we were working on the Witcher build, which Maker JP's still here and he still says hi.
Yes.
And then there's a point in time when you got busy with whatever, and life happened, and we didn't talk for a long time. And in the back of my mind, it's like, oh man, I hope I didn't piss him off.
No, but that happens everywhere, and you can know from me. If you piss me off, I'll let you know.
Oh, that's good.
So, if you don't hear from me, we're good.
Okay, good. All right. Yeah.
Life happens.
Life happens, and that's what I was hoping all it was. So I was super excited when you contacted me last week, and that was really very, very exciting. So thank you.
Well, thank you.
And thank you very much for being the first video in remote guest for any one of my live streams ever,
Yeah.
and helping to
cool. Booyah.
prove a system. So for the viewers at home, looks like this may happen more, which also might mean that we'll be building less because we pulled the patterns out and talked about them briefly.
We're building through this project. It gives people a chance to catch up.
Yeah,
You
that's
watch Last Wax. That's a thing. We're still cutting out pieces. Yes, it takes forever to cut out just the pattern.
And I've seen on Lost Wax's Instagram, or I'm not sure what. There's so many social media things,
Right.
but he's been working on the actual
wand.
thrower of the wand.
Yes,
Yeah.
Oh, it looks so amazing.
doesn't it? I'm excited
Oh
for
my
that.
god.
Right, because it'd be nice to be able to follow through with, okay, we made his pack, now we can make his wand. Now, he's also got a good pattern for doing the Alice pack out of PVC.
Yeah, I know.
In a box, I've got a couple of Alice packs, so I'm excited about, I'm going to be making this foam Proton pack, but I can put it on an Alice pack.
Yeah.
But the PVC ones, I feel like it's easier for stunts.
Oh, it'd be much, it's going to probably...
Well, and this is one thing too, is that every Ghostbusters is great. Every pack is different, even
Right.
in canon, right? So build your own pack, and if somebody goes, "Well, that isn't original," who cares? It's your pack. Every
Right.
pack's different.
Yeah, sorry, I caught this one ghost and he split the line and now I have a piece of tape on the hose. It's
Yeah,
it's what
exactly.
happened.
Right.
I don't know who would do that. That's,
Who would do that? How could that possibly be canon?
Oh, there was a ghost leak. Some of the
Yeah.
ectoplasm was leaking out, so we had to put some tape on it. You know, just a Band-Aid.
Yeah.
So I had a weird thought last night, working on an upcoming video where I'm making large-scale Lego props again out of foam, right? For the video game Lego Dimensions, as well as just in the with the toys, they actually have Ghostbuster Legos. It's like, do I make a Ghostbusters Lego Proton Pack?
Yes.
Yes.
Of course you do. You've just committed yourself by making it public on a
Now
video.
you can't disappoint
Pretty much, yeah.
folks. It's just, yeah.
Right, and as you and I were talking earlier, then it becomes, do I make it the same scale of it making everything else so the pieces work with each other?
Yeah.
Which will make the pack about a foot tall, or do I?
Yeah, well, your Lego guy, I think, is about this.
You see, I actually scaled it out, so the scale that I'm building stuff, a Lego minifigure will be just under 2 feet tall. So
Yeah,
it's
that's awesome.
about that tall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, you should make a person. Oh, no, we have 5 minutes.
We have 5 minutes. Well,
Sorry.
Suddenly I'm thinking you need to do Playmobil. If you're going to go down that hole, you've got all these other... Like,
Giant Lego set.
right. I picked Lego because that was my main childhood toy.
Totally.
And I've got it, yeah. And I've still got a lot of them. In fact, in a way, if Felicia be so kind as to move for a quick second, I can show my Lego collection got to the point that when I needed to get something to store it in, the best bang for my buck as far as money goes is I started buying these to put my Legos in. New
Wow,
and clean.
dude.
I've got 5 of these full of Legos.
I'll be honest, I didn't grow up, it's like, we couldn't afford a whole lot of Lego, right?
Right.
I'm scared my kids, I might be trying to make up for lost time through them. I think I might need to adopt that storage system.
Yeah, all mine came after I moved out. I mean, I had a lot of Legos as a kid. I was an only child, and I was spoiled. So there was in the 70s there was this like denim draw bag that you would lay out, and I had one of those full. But no,
Yeah.
It
There's
all came
stores
after the fact.
buying the old Odin's packs. That's definitely where it's like,
yeah.
get the bulk of them.
Oh, for sure. Garage sales are great because I never cared about having a complete set. I just wanted more really cool parts.
Yeah, I need all the
Yeah.
pieces. More blocks.
More blocks. I need the blocks, man.
Then my wife's one of the one that has to color coordinate everything, but that's not how my mind works. So it's like splitting a setup, and I'm like, oh no, don't do it this way.
Right. Yeah, Ellis, all they want to do is organize everything. We need bins and put everything in bins. Everything else, and all I can think of is, what a waste of time. You just dump it. I made a table that's got walls on it so I can just dig through it and get what I want.
You know what? I'm going to be cutting this out, and I'm going to play this to my wife. I'm pregnant tonight.
So at
And
5
I'm
minutes
afraid
before
to
the
get a
end.
phone call from her.
Okay, I'll be happy to talk to Miss Eadie. That's fine. We can all do a Zoom dinner. We'll just set up no.
Fine, I'll have to come down to California in the middle of winter. It's
Yes.
a horrible thing, but I'll do that.
California is so miserable in the winter. Sometimes you actually have to put on a second layer.
Felicia and I were talking about that earlier when
Yeah.
we stepped out for tea, and
Yes.
it can get to like minus 20, minus 30 Fahrenheit here.
Right.
It's not like that right now, but it can get brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I'm
can't
sure.
function.
No.
Nope.
Yeah.
So we are at the very, very end of the stream. Once again, Ben, thank you so much for coming on to the show. Thank you for spending your afternoon with us.
Absolutely.
If anybody wanted to see more of what you're doing or what's going on, what would be the best places to find more information about you and your social media?
So first of all, I want people to go to my YouTube channel. I'm trying to turn that one up into something. I've got 12,000 followers, which isn't nothing to sneeze at,
That's
but it's
fantastic.
still, I'm working. And I've been doing a lot of TikTok stuff.
Great. What's the name of your channel?
My channel on YouTube is just is Ben Eadie, all one word. So youtube.com/Ben Eadie.
Oh, nice.
If you go to social media on TikTok and on Instagram, I'm known as the Dread Maker Roberts.
Oh,
Which
Right.
love it.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
I remember when I first got
don't
the
know,
first
it popped
couple
into
of
my head
messages
one day
from
and
you.
I'm like, I gotta use it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm slowly trying to change everything over so people can find me that easily that way. But those are the two easiest things. One thing too is that because of the movie and stuff, I'm not used to this, and a lot of people are trying to friend me up on Facebook. I'm not really accepting friends unless I really know you in real life, because I'm not trying to be a jerk. It's just I've got too many invites. So don't take it the wrong way. I had somebody upset because I didn't friend them up, and I'm like, well, I live in a little bit of a different universe now, and I'm just trying to figure it out. So
I can respect that.
I can fully respect that. I'm similar. I don't friend everybody on Facebook.
I don't have a Facebook.
Instagram, I'm not too worried about it, but Facebook's like, there's the Odin Makes page, sure, but the Odin Abbott page, not so much.
Yeah, maybe I need to look at Dreadmaker Roberts' page.
Yeah, Persona page, maybe.
Yeah.
Keep things a little separate.
Well, thank you. We appreciate you being here. If you guys enjoyed this live stream, like it.
Right.
Subscribe.
Like it, subscribe. Know that
it right now.
There we go. Sweet, thank you. And for all of you who are watching that have watched all the way to the end here, thank you so much for hanging out with us. We really appreciate you spending the time and watching the video. For those of you who are in my future that are watching a playback of this video, you guys rock. Thank you for watching all the way to the end here, because this is getting close to 3 hours for you. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
But yes. But hopefully, man, we'll get a chance to talk again, maybe even publicly, but hopefully privately. That would be nice. But yeah, it's hard out for Felicia, so
I gotta go. Thank you guys for joining us.
Thank you all very, very much.
Bye-bye.
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 Now it's the awkward. Where's the end stream
My
button?
cheeks are killing me.
This button? Is it that button?
Is the button?
You're
I know
still
there's going to be lots of different ways that you can end a live stream, but this I should have killed it before.